All right, welcome back. It is 9:52. We're going to check our departures right now at the Grand Rapids area airport. So that would be the Ford International Airport. Number of delays out there, and we can see exactly why. We got some low visibility out there, right there in Cascade Township at the Ford Airport.
Yeah, you can definitely see the winds kind of blowing the droplets there on the camera shot here. Low visibility here in the airport, and of course with this, it's bringing the delays and cancellation. You can see the red all up and down here as we take a live look at the look at the flight tracker here from the Ford International Airport.
Yeah, we see a number of canceled flights, especially a little bit later on. We've got like a canceled flight to Charlotte on American Airlines. There's another one that was supposed to take off at 2 today from Delta. That one's canceled to Minneapolis, St. Paul. Even another one to DFW that will be canceled. That's another 2 p.m. departure. We're seeing a lot of this too because we've seen weather systems across the country, right? And that impacts the major hubs, which we're seeing right now. And those are the ripple effects that we see now removed from the Christmas holiday. We know a lot of people are going home right now.
And that's been the name of the game. Of course, Christmas week a little mild, but right now we're seeing it's going to be very challenging getting home on time, those that are getting ready to head out. So this is what we're seeing. Now, listen, if you do have air travel planned, you definitely want to check the status of your flight well before time, because right now, again, we're seeing these delays and cancellations this morning coming out of the Ford Airport. So right now, let's take a look across our areas here on conditions here overlooking Grand Valley State University. Of course, it's looking quiet, but we know those winds and things are blowing across the way. Not a whole lot of activity on the roadway in the far distance there, but we know this is what we're seeing. And of course, those weather conditions that our meteorologists have been talking about all morning long, we are seeing them right here across our entire region.
Yeah, let's take a look at Walker right now. So this is the tower camera that is above 13 on your side. And this is what we mean when we're talking changing weather conditions. So that last picture from Grand Valley's Pew campus downtown in GR. A couple miles north here at the station, just at the intersection of 131 and 96. This is the visibility that we have. Wow. And I think it's so telling that when we have these big snow events in Michigan, you can just never tell, right? Yeah. You can never tell what the roads or visibility conditions will be. So I think it's very, very interesting that we are seeing this just a couple miles north of that one tower camera we were looking there at Grand Valley. And I actually know that I think we have 13 on your side's Micah Cho. He has been riding around in the Weather Chaser this morning. He's been keeping track of all the roads this morning and, of course, giving us some looks at different crashes that have happened. So we want to get over to Micah. He's actually pretty close to the station. So let us know, where are you at, Micah, and what conditions are you looking at?
Yeah, we just got onto 96 from Alpine, and Tanner, you were talking about changing road conditions. If you've been watching us since at least 6:30 when I first got on the air, it's changing weather conditions. I mean, that's what we're seeing. From around 6:30, it was you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you, and then around 7, 8 o'clock. It was more, I would say, as the light kind of started to shine through, it got a lot better. I was talking that road conditions were so much better than what we were seeing at the earlier hours. Now we're basically kind of getting back into that whiteout. You can it's really hard to kind of see. I'd probably say we have a visibility of maybe a quarter of a mile. I mean, you can kind of see these cars passing us. We're going probably around 40, 45. You can see these cars passing us, and then it's boom. They disappear off into the abyss. So I would say the roads are still a little, they're still a little rough. We're trying to, we can every time we hit the gas, we can kind of feel the car kind of just slip and slide a little bit. Earlier at around 6:30, me and photographer Jake Duncan, we were driving on 131 southbound near 54th Street. We were just north of it, and the semi-truck that was right next to us, it either hit a patch of ice or it hit a patch of that thicker snow, and then it jackknifed and basically flipped the other way around. The truck was facing northbound by the time we were able to get some video of it. So again, we do have a lot of cars passing us, although we do want to make sure that we're staying safe and we're using these common sense driving techniques. So we are on our way. We've been in Kent County all morning. We are going to be trying to make our way more towards the Ottawa and then the Allegan County areas. I know there was that really bad accident with that semi-truck on fire earlier this morning near Allegan County, kind of near that Saugatuck area on 196 near mile marker, I think it was 38. So we're going to be making our way that way to see what conditions are like a little bit more on the lakeshore. So for now, live in Kent County, I'm Micah Cho for 13 on your side.
With those live conditions there, and of course, Mike has been giving us those updates all morning long, looking at inland, where Aaron over on the lakeshore giving us those brutal winds there. The sand that she actually sent me a picture of her face.
Oh my gosh.
Covered in sand.
Yeah. Well, sand, because again, we mentioned, right, the snow is whipping, but it's also the sand because she was there at Muskegon State Park.
Yeah.
And that was her thing. She was like, it's stunning, right? It's so pretty out. But I'm like, we'll get inside the car because it is cold.
She's been bringing us excellent coverage this morning. All right, folks, going off 9:59 is the time right now. We're going to take a quick break. And of course, we're bringing you live coverage on your winter weather storm that's hitting across our area and the state.
Hello, good morning, everybody. It is just past 10 o'clock here on this Monday, very snowy Monday weather impact alert morning. Thank you for sticking with us. I'm Tanner Holbrook. Elena Holland joins our coverage now. And you just drove in from daycare, from home, all of the above.
Yeah,
so what was that like?
You know, I was surprised, first of all, to see daycare open. You know, they work really hard to get those cleared.
Right.
You know, but in Kent County, I think the drive-in wasn't terrible. It was very icy and it was very snowy.
Yeah.
But at the time, it wasn't coming down. It was manageable if you went slow and took your time. But then getting back onto 96, I only had to go about 5 miles. But it got really, really hard to see at one point. It was just one of those, and I know Blake's been talking about this, those really fast moments where you just can't see very much. And I know that's probably one of the biggest concerns, but also it's just kind of a lot of other places too. You know, we're keeping an eye on, I know you're talking about Big Rapids and kind of the Muskegon area.
It's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So it's definitely rough in Kent County, but if you take your time, it was certainly manageable until certain points when you couldn't see.
Yeah, well, you were mentioning the visibility, right? Because in one area, I mean, we've been seeing tower cameras all morning where, you know, one area, for example, Muskegon was clear at one point this morning.
Yeah.
And then you look in Grand Haven, which is probably, what, 30, 40 miles south of that, and it is just completely whiteout conditions. So I think that's like the issue, like what you were mentioning, is the visibility is just kind of that up in the air factor here.
The wind is just blowing really fast too over some of those kind of flat areas. I slowed way down, especially even on those side streets that the wind was just, you could see it blowing snow.
And that's going to be the issue today, is that you're going to be heading out, especially if you're away from the lakeshore, such as Grand Rapids, and you're going to say, oh, I see pavement. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Well,
you're not wrong in some sense, but then all it takes is, like you said, Elena, you get one of those bands that come in, visibility drops to near zero, things start to ice up real quick again, and that's how we get accidents, and that's how issues occur on the roadways. As we know here as Michiganders how things can work with lake effect snow, and that's really the situation this morning, Colton. That's for sure. With the lake effect snow that's ongoing right now, I would say this is transitioning the pure lake effect now. This is not really associated. It is associated with the low pressure system that's been working its way through the Great Lakes region, but now the ingredients are more in play with the cold air over the relatively warmer waters of the Great Lakes, and that's why off a northwest wind we're seeing these individual bands really get their act together, and you can just see by the shades of blue. The darker the blue it is, that's indicating the heaviest of snow. And that's really the case right now in a fair part of Ottawa County, stretching between Zeeland and Hudsonville, just to the west of Grand Valley and Allendale, stretching to the north in Unica into Fruitport in southern Muskegon County. That's where we're seeing the heaviest snow. We did just have a decent lake effect band come right through Walker here in our backyard at 13 on your side. That extends into the Ford International Airport, Cascade Township, just to the south and east of Grand Rapids. Look at the difference, Colton. You see downtown Grand Rapids right now. Nothing, no snow. You go 10 miles down the road and there you go. You have whiteout conditions with the lake effect band overhead. So that's really going to be the focus the rest of this morning into the afternoon, where if you're not in a typical lake effect snow belt, you're likely not going to pick up much more in the way of snow accumulation. But again, our focus was really never about how much snow you may see per se. It was more about the combination of snow, even if it was minor amounts, and the strong wind that has taken over. Elena mentioned on those flat areas on the roads, a lot of blowing and drifting snow, and 40 to 50 plus mile per hour wind gusts will do that. In fact, we've had a few wind gusts earlier this morning, almost to 60 miles per hour. That was the case at the Saugatuck Pier, right off the shore, and also at the Muskegon County Airport, 58 mile per hour wind gust. Generally right now our wind gusts are between 40 and 50 miles per hour. So I would say, luckily, Colton, we've kind of avoided the worst of the wind for a long duration of time, but 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gust obviously still causing some issues around West Michigan. View out of Walker, 10 minutes ago, you couldn't see anything out of this tower camera. And again, that's just showcasing the type of weather we're going to have today. As we all know here in West Michigan, with how lake effect behaves, we're going to have varying conditions across West Michigan. And that's the case right here in Walker, not looking as bad as it was 10 minutes ago.
We do have 2 inches of snow on the ground, though, in Walker, too.
We do, yeah. I just went out with the ruler and got a couple inches of snow. So, of course, this isn't going to be the post-Thanksgiving snowstorm where everyone saw 10 to 12 plus inches of snow. But we were never advertising that in the first place. It was more about the combination of snow and wind. And yeah, you can see out of our Grand Haven camera, it has been iced up all morning long. And last note to make of is that visibility will continue to be impacted, even if it's not actively snowing in your backyard. The blowing and drifting snow will easily cause the low visibility and continue to ice up those untreated roads, especially the side streets, the neighborhood roads, and those dirt gravel roads. Those will be impacted the most and be impacted the longest through tonight. We'll have more weather coming up in just a few minutes, but let's send it back over to Elena and Tanner. Hey, guys.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Blake. Yeah, so we were looking at that visibility map where the visibility has been tough, has been in Muskegon County a lot of this morning.
Yeah, and I can't imagine being, right on the lakeshore with the lake effect coming in and all the winds blowing, as Blake was just talking about. Someone who knows that pretty well is 13 on Your Side's Aaron Sullivan, live in Muskegon State Park. Aaron, woo, yeah,
wow.
That looks pretty blustery right there. You've got the hood up, that's great. How are things looking over there?
Hey, I know. I had it down, but I'm telling you, once this wind just really picks up like it is right now, it's just best to put this on. It doesn't matter what I look like. We just got to make sure we can talk without the sand getting in my lungs. But yeah, if you were with us just, half hour ago, we were on the lakeshore, and I mean, those gusts of wind were so strong. This morning, Blake was saying 58-mile-per-hour gust of wind recorded here in Muskegon, and I can believe it. I would even believe it if he said those were even higher. But I want to talk about the kids. I know they're going to be locked inside today. They're not going to go to school. I know it's still holiday break. Maybe they want to go sledding. It's not going to happen today. But what a stunning view. Typically, we see kids down these sand dunes every time we get a big snow like this. We actually were here just a few weeks ago talking to a lot of kids who were begging their parents and grandparents to get them out of the house and take them sledding. But unfortunately, I think we're going to have to wait a little bit for that. So show them this clip here. I mean, you can even see just the sand and the snow that's getting picked up from the ground and just thrown across everything, especially in my face. But this grass here, I mean, you can even see this bending. Some of the trees here along the lakeshore completely bending over. So definitely seeing a lot of beautiful sights, but very, very, very strong gusts of wind and getting pretty cold over here as well. Also, really quickly, the lakeshore, like I said, it's absolutely stunning. But Blake said earlier, we are seeing waves that are over 20 feet high. Absolutely incredible. Mother Nature is really working overtime today. But yeah, if you're on the lakeshore and you want to get outside, especially on these sand dunes to sled, hang in there. For now in Muskegon, I'm Aaron Sullivan, 13 on Your Side.
All right, Aaron. Hey, while we have you, I just want to ask you, I know you've been around Muskegon County this morning. You were downtown, you were along some of the lake shores there. You're now along the lakeshore there at Muskegon State Park. I'm curious as to what the most impactful or the worst areas that you have been in. I'm sorry, we got you whipping into the storm. What has been the worst area that you've been in so far?
I can't say one is worse than the other. I think, in the early morning hours, it's hard when it's dark out. So I would say those are more dangerous, especially for drivers. But I think most conditions we're seeing across West Michigan right now are the same. High winds, bad visibility, whiteout conditions, blizzard-like conditions. So I don't have a definite answer, but I would say what we're telling you from where we are at the scene is a lot different from what you're seeing on those cameras.
And Aaron, when you can see the wind blowing, your hood, your coat, your hair, how is that contributing to how cold you're feeling? Like, how are your fingers, your nose, your lips doing?
Elena, I've got to say, we prepared really well. Our photojournalist here, Doug, and I, we made sure we had our layers on this morning. But I would say if you're running to the car, it's bone chilling. I mean, this wind is just making these temperatures feel a lot colder than it is. Blake Hansen said this morning it was about 30 degrees in Muskegon. It did not feel 30 degrees. Definitely a lot colder with this wind.
Okay. And Aaron, I hope you have a warm place to go to in between these live shots that we're having you do. So please get inside and get warm.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Aaron.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. We're seeing the wind, right? And it's right off Lake Michigan. So where she's at in any stretch of the imagination would be blustery toward that extent. And we even checked in with the Weather Channel earlier this morning too, who are up in Traverse City. We had a meteorologist speak with us. The wind was whipping there too. So it's safe to say across the state, no matter where you are, there is some sort of weather impact here. And a little bit closer to home, we do have weather impacts on the road too.
Yeah, that wind when it's blowing, that can make it really difficult to drive because not only do you get the snow just blowing across the street, which makes it really slick and slippery, but then especially if you're on the freeway, that when you can't see anything other than a few, you don't know if there is a ton of cars stopped ahead of you because of a crash. So make sure you're going really slow and keeping your lights on. I saw a lot of people out there this morning without their lights on.
I know, it just takes 2 seconds.
Yeah,
just
when there's snow like this, it's really important, not even just for the headlights, but for the taillights to come on too, so you can see if there's people in front of you. But we also want to get over to Micah Cho right now. He is in our weather chaser in Kent County. I believe he's on 196 heading toward Holland, heading west. Micah, how are things looking there?
Yeah, last time you saw us, we were near Grand Rapids. It's when we got off the air, the visibility cleared up, and the roads cleared up. It was pretty good. Now it's on and off here. Take a look. So this is I-196. We're headed westbound. We're almost towards the Hudsonville exit. You can kind of see the Harley-Davidson dealership there. The roads are still, this lane that we're in, we're going around 55. This lane that we're in is clear, but the lanes next to us either has that, that hard, crusty snow. There's a little bit of slush. We also see some water kind of sitting on the road. So it kind of varies. And then it gets into that visibility again. So in Grand Rapids, our visibility was a lot better. Here, it kind of goes on and off. It's touch and go, as I've kind of been saying all morning. As far as maybe the worst areas that we've seen across West Michigan, I would probably have to say maybe around 7 o'clock this morning. It was 54th Street and 131, that north and southbound areas. And then in Caledonia this morning, we were over by the Christian Reformed Church and Ace Hardware over there, kind of south or north of 108th Street. The visibility down there was pretty bad too. And, we had those 30, the 40 mile per hour winds, kind of hitting us as well. So it's, the winds, we're feeling it. It's shaking the car right now. We can feel those big gusts of energy, kind of hitting us, trying to, move the car every which way. So it is, again, as I've said, it is touch and go. It depends on really road conditions. It depends on where you are. These state trunk lines, these main priority roads. I know that we're in Ottawa County right now, but I talked with Steve Roan with the Kent County Road Commission, who said that these main highways are the roads that the road commissions are going to be focusing on, and then when it goes later in today, they're going to be focusing more on those county roads or those more side roads that people will be taking to be getting home. So I took a few side roads getting to the highway today from home in Caledonia. Those roads, 84th Street, was not that great, but when I got onto M37, it got a little bit better, and then when I got onto 96, it still was a little sketchy, but it got better as well. So I think we have a road commission. I think we have that interview from what I did earlier with Steve Roan, who kind of talked about what the road conditions are and what their men and women of the road commission are facing. Take a look.
We have more than 400 crews on our system right now that will not stop until every last customer is restored. We do expect some continued power outages as these high wind gusts continue, but do know that even if our crews aren't able to get up in the buckets, they are doing other work so that they can restore power as quickly and safely as possible. If you are without power and you are comfortable within your own home, we encourage you to stay there. Stay safe, stay off the roads. As you all have mentioned, the road conditions are not great this morning. So stay home, get cozy, grab a blanket, an extra sweatshirt, close those blinds and curtains so you can really retain that heat inside of your home. When it comes to food safety, as much as possible, try and keep your refrigerator and your freezer doors closed.
That sounds like it was a interview from Consumers Energy. A little fun fact about Consumers Energy: they're dealing with downed trees right now, and also the Kent County Road Commission, they're dealing with downed trees as well. And when you're a road commission truck driver, you kind of have to work around that. If they see a downed tree, they have to clear that, and they have to make sure that there isn't a down power line with it. So, those road commission, those men and women of the road commission, and the men and women of Consumers Energy, they have a lot in common when we're dealing with stuff like this. And I just want to take one last look at the roads. We talked about varying visibility. Here it is. Visibility was a little bit better when we were in Hudsonville. Now, take a look. These cars are about to go into the abyss. So we're not going to see them in about 10 seconds. So, we're going around 50, 55 miles per hour. We're trying to make sure, we're using those common sense driving techniques. And we are on our way to the more Saugatuck, Allegan County area. So for now, in Ottawa County, I'm Micah Cho for 13 on your side.
All right, Micah. Yeah, I think that is a really telling picture of what some of the roads are, a lot of them across our area, especially we've seen those changing road conditions. But I remember at the beginning of his hit there, his live report there, we were seeing, basically clear roads.
Yeah.
And then toward the end of that, we're seeing snow-covered roads. It just goes to show the changing conditions out there.
It can happen so fast. And I feel like we're going to be a broken record today, but that's what we're talking about with the wind and, it's blowing the snow across the road and things are coming down fast in certain areas. And we're kind of seeing that a lot. Blake was talking about how some areas are going to see more snow than others today,
right,
and others were more impacted by the ice. We talked about that a lot, more up north toward Big Rapids. Because they had a lot of that ice on the power lines. We're even seeing some of the power outages. Let's take a live look at the Consumers Energy outage map where we're seeing quite a bit of outages near like the Reed City area, in the Big Rapids area. It looks like right around the main Big Rapids area, just north of it, 172 customers impacted there. We're looking at a lot of big spots right there in the mid-Michigan area. So if you're around the area north of Mount Pleasant, Clare, I know that's Farwell. Those are kind of places where there are thousands of customers without power. And I heard you were talking about this. Customers does not mean people.
Right.
It's way more people that are impacted. This is one house, one business, could also be one apartment building.
Exactly.
So lots of people, lots of different units impacted. So there's just thousands of people up there without power.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to take a look at Muskegon throughout the morning because this is actually new footage that we have not shown you yet. This is from early this morning until about now. So you can kind of see we started with some more wet conditions. You see the rain kind of over the tower camera as things get going for the morning drive. And then this quickly shifts, as you will be able to see here, into some more winter conditions. And then you kind of at one point see the camera covered up. And again, this tells the visibility story of the morning, while we have been seeing visibility issues all morning long. And here we kind of go into a little bit more, which I would say this is probably getting into that snow. Yep, there we go.
Okay,
and
where's Muskegon?
I know, basically it kind of goes away. And we've been seeing this all morning long. We've been seeing it here, especially in Muskegon. I mean, even in Grand Haven too, we've seen near whiteout conditions, and that camera covered more often than not this morning. So again, we've seen periods of clearer visibility and then some different conditions that would cover the camera up. Here's Grand Rapids throughout the morning. Again, we start with that wet rain that transitions into that wintry mix to snow there, where things really get going with the whiteout conditions in many spots.
And coming up here just in a second on this time lapse, this is what's really dangerous here, because we're seeing all this rain, and yesterday, driving through pouring rain in parts of Michigan, and then when it freezes over like that, that's how you get that quick ice, that really dangerous road conditions. It freezes on the power lines, freezes on the buildings. Looks like we're still kind of in the rain period here. I know. But when we do see that, but you can start to see it getting colder because you see the smokestacks from the steam of the air getting colder. That's what gets really dangerous. As looks like we got a couple glitches there. It looks like the snow's starting to come down a little bit more. Things freeze really fast, and that's what creates such a dangerous part of the road. And then you add the snow on top of it, can make it really tricky, especially before the crews can get out there.
I think what's really interesting too is earlier this morning before our show started, I was talking with meteorologist Blake Hansen, and we saw a lot of rain yesterday. And the main point of our conversation was, with that rain, here comes the snow in this footage here. But the main point of our conversation was basically you know, that rain washed off all of the treatment that would have been on any sort of roads. And that, you know, kind of leans into this morning when we saw almost immediate transition from rain into snow. And road crews really didn't have much time to react. So, yeah, and that's where we get those dicey road conditions when we've got maybe a layer of ice in some spots, but we also have snow now covering that ice. Mixed with the visibility, mixed with the wind, it kind of is a quote-unquote perfect storm.
And speaking about those road crews, I know they're out there doing their best, but keep in mind they're focusing on those main roads, those M roads.
Right.
You know, the MDOT is getting the freeways. So if you're traveling some of those more side roads, even if it's like, I don't know, 3 mile, 4 mile, those were even really tricky this morning because those were even kind of second to some of the more major roads. So just keep that in mind as you're heading out. Sometimes it's better to stick to those main roads.
Yeah, sometimes it is, but you never know. This morning I was driving on 131 to work today, and even then you could feel the wind, and I wasn't sure if the wind was blowing my car and then sliding it or what was going on. But, you know, it's one of those things that you will have changing road conditions, and that's why we're seeing a lot of the issues. All right, so it is just about to turn 10:27 on your Monday. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more coverage after this.
welcome back. We are welcoming also back Deja Barrett. Thanks so much for joining us. Had to give you guys a little bit of a break. It's been a long morning with this winter weather coverage.
It's been a long morning.
It's been a long morning.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're talking about this because we've had such an impactful weather event overnight. It's always scary to me when you have the rain one day and then the freezing snow the next, because you know all that water is just freezing over to ice. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of issues with the roadways, the power lines too, seeing a lot of outages, especially up north more. So we're still keeping an eye on it because it's not over.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, our meteorologists, our weather impact team have been doing an amazing job.
You guys are doing great.
Keeping us up to date. And I love earlier this morning, Blake was just talking about just keeping our viewers just aware of what's going on. Of course, this is expected, you know, Midwest Michigan weather, you know, but we are just keeping our folks informed on what they need to know, what's coming, what's going. And I love how detailed that you all have been letting our viewers know what's up.
Appreciate it. You know, that's the biggest thing, you know, is that we deal with winter pretty much each and every day from November through, well, sometimes it could be April or May. But we know how it can go for 5-6 months of the year. But there are certain days, certain events that just warrant that extra awareness because, you know, we've seen numerous crashes this morning. Dave Hackley was mentioning that all morning long. Of course, we have the I-196 partial closure, I believe now. All of that weather related. And now we have sporadic power outages, even across here in West Michigan. But Elena, you mentioned, you know, more situated to the north of Big Rapids, where there's a lot of ice still on the trees and power lines. And that's going to be an issue, really, the rest of this morning into a fair chunk of the second half of the day, especially for the Lakeshore, Colton.
Yeah, the Lakeshore is definitely going to be getting hit the hardest now as we transition into the afternoon hours. Visibility in Muskegon, you can tell it's still reduced down to half a mile, at least at the Muskegon County Airport, with a temperature of 26 degrees. And look at that sustained wind, almost at 30 miles per hour. Wind gusts probably much higher than that as well. Visibility is reduced across pretty much the entire lower peninsula of Michigan right now, seeing half a mile of visibility in Muskegon and South Haven. Also in Kalamazoo, look at Three Rivers, 0 miles of visibility. So they're seeing whiteout conditions right now down toward the state line, and at least much of West Michigan seeing visibilities below a mile right now. The other story today, by far, was the wind. In fact, earlier this morning, Muskegon, you gusted upwards of 58 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, that is what the bare minimum requirement is for a severe thunderstorm warning. So very, very strong wind that we saw earlier today. Now wind gusts still on the strong side, just below 50 miles per hour along much of the lakeshore. A little bit less, though, as you travel further inland, but look at these sustained winds. The sustained wind in Fremont is 37 miles per hour right now. That is pretty incredible. Wind gusts, though, in general, a little bit higher along the lakeshore, still holding on with that lake effect snow as well. Hour by hour shows heading into the afternoon hours. Wind gusts generally will be around 45, if not 50 miles per hour still heading into the early to mid-afternoon hours. It's really not until this evening when we'll finally see winds below 40 miles per hour, and especially overnight tonight, they'll begin to relax. But by relax, I mean still holding on to wind gusts around 25 to 30. And then heading into Tuesday, breeziness will continue. Temperatures, it was mild yesterday. It's definitely not mild now. It's 26 degrees in Grand Rapids and Muskegon, 25 in Fremont, and 28 degrees currently in South Haven. So everyone is below freezing, allowing that opportunity of seeing iciness on the roadways. Temperatures will hold in the mid-20s largely through the rest of the day now. Still holding on to that chance of blowing snow here in Grand Rapids through the early to mid-afternoon hours. It's not until the evening when we will likely see the precipitation come to an end, thankfully. Satellite and radar does show we have this low pressure system off to the northeast. It's pretty strong as well, blowing in those strong northwest winds behind it and the much colder air with the lake effect snow. Zooming in on West Michigan, you can see most of us at least dealing with some form of lake effect, but the lake enhanced snow that we saw earlier this morning is now moving off to the south. Zooming in across West Michigan, have a pretty heavy snow band moving through Van Buren and Kalamazoo County, another one into Allegan in southern Ottawa County. As we head to the north, it's mostly along the lakeshore, especially in western portions of Muskegon and Oceana County. So right along US 31, we are seeing some heavy snow bands continuing at times with whiteout conditions. Hour by hour today shows by noon, still holding on to lake effect snow, primarily along the lakeshore and extending into Kalamazoo. I do think the heaviest snow totals throughout the rest of the day will likely be toward Kalamazoo and also Allegan, as we have a pretty hefty snow band set up down there. Into the evening, though, we'll finally begin to see the lake effect begin to shut off. This is additional snowfall. So in general, along the lakeshore, still an additional 2 to possibly 4 inches of snow between now and heading into Monday evening. But this is the heavy band that I was talking about, extending from about Holland through Allegan toward Kalamazoo, where we could see additional snowfall of maybe 5 to 6 inches. So another heavy band is at least expected down there. Here in Grand Rapids, I really don't think we'll see a whole lot more snow. Most of the snowfall this morning, but still at times we could contend with poor visibility. Now, this is the extended forecast. This is now Tuesday morning. We're tracking yet another round of snow late in the day on Tuesday, continuing into Wednesday morning. This one likely arrives late in the day on Tuesday, you can see, especially along the lakeshore. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow across much of the lakeshore, and some flurries will even continue into Wednesday. But by far, the impacts won't be as high as we saw today. The high impacts will continue into this afternoon, at least along the lakeshore. Heading into Tuesday morning, though, finally we'll see improving conditions with really no impacts, or at least low impacts, and then some higher impacts will move back in late in the day on Tuesday, lasting into Wednesday with that secondary round of lake effect snow. The rest of the day, time hours today, will hold on to the breezy winds, the strong winds, I should say, with blowing snow at times. Temperatures, they've already hit their peak. We will continue to cool down slowly through the rest of the afternoon. Your 1300 side 7-day does show Tuesday and Wednesday look to be snowy yet again, especially late in the day on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Temperatures holding in the 20s as well, and starting the new year, temperatures will be in the teens, but thankfully we'll lose the snow.
Colton, thank you. This morning, we're continuing to bring you coverage of northbound 196 being closed near Old Allegan Road after a semi caught fire early this morning. Now, Allegan County Emergency Management, they did confirm with us that this all happened early this morning around 7. The highway was initially closed in both directions, but the southbound lanes have since reopened. Now, officials do estimate that the northbound lanes will be closed until at least noon. And so right now we're looking at this map of that closure, and you can see that red area there where that area is to be closed right now, or the southbound lane rather.
Yeah, and in this accident, we do know one person was injured at least. And the overpass was also damaged, now closed. That's what's leading to that closure of the northbound lanes. Once again, the southbound lanes have since reopened, so if you're traveling that way, you can still go through, still take it slow.
Right.
We don't know what happened here. We don't know what led up to this. Just make sure you avoid that area if you're heading northbound. That is still closed with damage to the overpass, as well as a person injured in this crash when a semi-truck caught fire. We're also seeing a lot of other crashes on I-196.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're tracking that in our weather chaser this morning. That's where we find 13 Your Side's Micah Cho. He is heading that way, heading west on I-196. Let's check in with him. Micah, I know you just told us a few minutes ago you're seeing a lot of crashes heading that way. Can you kind of describe what you're seeing?
Yeah, so I'm going to use my phone for this real quick so I can get the precise location. But I just want to say 196, so that would be eastbound. I-196 eastbound, there is a portion of the highway closed just before Lincoln Road. Again, that's 196 westbound just before Lincoln Road. We saw an Amazon semi-truck and then another semi-truck. So 2 semi-trucks that were either jackknifed or in the ditch on the highway there. So this is what we're looking at right now. The roads have gotten slicker the more that we've gotten into Ottawa County. So I can definitely see, why those trucks were, and I'm almost certain that we are going to be stopped up here just down the road. That was probably a mile back. Again, we are in Ottawa County. We're going a little bit slower. We're going about 35 miles per hour. Yeah, it does look like the road is closed up, either closed or stopped. We also see a car up here with blinking yellow flashers on. So we're just trying to get a sense of what's going on over here. Just before Lincoln Road, too, I will say that we saw a box truck and we saw a pickup truck not too far away from each other. This was just after, I think it was Chicago Drive. Those vehicles were on opposite sides of the ditch. So there was one on the right side, and then there was one on the left side, and they were both flipped around. So again, it's getting a little sketchy out here. I will say too, the snow for a second stopped, and it did turn into maybe. Jacob, would you say that was more sleet? Yeah. It was more of like a wet. I wouldn't call it rain. I wouldn't call it snow. Maybe the meteorologist can check me on this, but I would say it was more maybe of a sleet. So again, you can see that we are stopped here on 196 behind the semi truck here. We do not know what is ahead of us, if we will be moving anytime soon. So again, this is kind of what the roads look like too. There will be a lot of spots that have, maybe some of those clear lanes for your tire pass, and then you have snow covered roads. So you can have clear roads and then roads like these. It does look a little slick and icy too, Jacob. My photographer and driver here, Jacob, you would probably say it's probably a little slick to drive too.
Yeah, definitely patches of ice.
Yeah, definitely some patches of ice out here. So we are on our way to Allegan County. We'll update you if we get out of this traffic backup right now, but it looks like we are at a full stop. There is nobody moving. So for now, in Ottawa County, I'm Mike Cho for 13 on your side.
Mike, it was interesting to see, Micah, that car, was passing to the left, trying to get around that truck that was stopped in front of Micah, and they stopped too. So something's going on there. People are taking it slow. You could see the ice right there on the street too.
For sure. And of course, Micah's been giving us live updates all morning long. And that's been really earlier, that one incident he had a driver pass by, and it's like, hey, you should slow down.
Slow down.
We got some winter severe coverage here this morning. So speaking of coverage, Micah's giving us live updates on the road. Aaron over on the Lakeshore. So we have been giving you live updates of what we're seeing as we continue our winter coverage this morning. Stay with us. We'll take a short break. We'll have more winter coverage here shortly. 10:46 is the time. Thanks for staying with us as we continue our winter coverage, and we're talking about just road conditions and what folks are looking at as they possibly head out the door. But if you don't have to head out, you definitely want to stay in because road conditions aren't looking good. Visibility is what we've been talking about.
It's a little rough, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know we were talking about how if you can stay home, you can. And the good news is we don't have a ton of school closing, things like that, because school's already out for the most part for that winter break. So hopefully a lot of people are just staying home, but a lot of people are also traveling, and we've been keeping an eye on a lot of cancellations, delays at the airport. This is a live look right now at the delays on the Ford International Airport coming out. I'm looking at some of the departures right now. If you are trying to head on the United flight to Chicago this morning, that's delayed. American Airlines to Dallas, that's delayed. American Airlines to Chicago, delayed. American Airlines to Phoenix, delayed. Honestly, there's only 3 I'm seeing right now that are on time.
Yeah,
on the first part of the page.
We've been seeing those delays and cancellations, honestly, all morning long, as we know that this weather conditions we're seeing impacting across the country, you know. And so this is a live look here at the Ford Airport, not looking too pretty. And we actually here just moments ago got a statement in from the airport saying that the airfield team is working to clear the runways to make sure aircraft operations can run smoothly and safely. Now, they are recommending and encouraging passengers to check with their airline for any updates regarding their flight status. And it's something we've been saying all morning long before. If you have air travel today, of course, a lot of folks are traveling for the holidays, heading back home, or maybe those coming in, you definitely want to check the status of your flight.
Yeah, the arrivals too, they're coming in. I'm seeing it's about every other one is delayed. It just depends on, you know, which flight you're looking at. And I have to imagine it's hard to keep up with clearing these runways because the snow is still coming down in spots. Look at the visibility. It's tough to see. I mean, I don't know how to fly a plane, but I don't think I'd want to fly a plane through that. So you're seeing a lot of those cancellations or these at least delays. They're being pushed back further into the day. So make sure you're checking, you know, those flight delays on the airport website.
Elena, we definitely going to stay in our lane and give the information out for folks to know what they need to know on this morning. And speaking of what you need to know, we have the experts. We have the man with the plan, Blake Hansen, giving us all we need to know this.
Right here. Yeah. You know, the thing is, too, though, you know, Detroit Metro Airport had a ground stop earlier this morning, and of course that feeds into the other regional airports such as Grand Rapids. So, you know, it's like a domino effect when you see some of these airports get to a ground stop, even if it's just an hour long.
Yeah.
That really can push back some of those flights.
Yeah, so Blake, right now, I mean, we are approaching the 11 o'clock hour. You have been rocking and rolling, you and Colton here at the top of the hour, 5 a.m. How are things looking now?
You know, I think if you take away the wind, from a snow perspective, things are improving in some spots, especially away from the lakeshore. But the wind is still going to be an issue the rest of today, and that's still going to cause blowing and drifting snow and continue to ice up those roads that aren't treated. And that will primarily be more of a side street, back dirt road factor as the day goes on. Now, having said that, those at the lakeshore, if you're watching from one of our lakeshore counties, you will see additional snow the rest of today in the way of lake effect. There's our 13 weather ball. Before I get into the forecast, we have seen a few snow reports come in. You know, I really want to make it clear, you know, for many of us, we were not expecting any major snow amounts. It was the wind that was our focus of this forecast and still is. But we've had a few healthy snow reports come in so far as of 8 o'clock this morning. So this does not include some of the snow that's fallen over the last hour or two. Just to the north and west of Holland, over 4 inches of snow, nearly 4.5 inches of snow in the Beechwood area in that neighborhood, just to the north and west of Holland. In Pine Grove, Van Buren County, that's over 3.5 inches of snow. Paw Paw, just shy of 3 inches of snow. Out here on the weather deck, we're just a bit over 2 inches of snow, which does kind of match our last snow accumulation map of last evening from meteorologist Amber Tardy. And then we have additional amounts such as Comstock and Kalamazoo County, over 3.5 inches of snow. Cedar Springs, Kent County, 2 inches of snow. I'll keep listing them off here. 2.5 inches nearly in East Grand Rapids. And again, a lot of these reports are from 8 o'clock this morning. So they don't include what has fallen over the past hour or two. So generally across West Michigan, we're anywhere between about 1 to 4 inches of snow. Of course, you might kind of laugh at that compared to some of the other events we've had, but it's all about the wind in this event, and that has been a factor all day long. So our 13 weather ball is blinking blue. Yep, it's cold outside. It's still snowing in spots, and that will continue the rest of today, and that's why our 13 weather impact alert continues as well. Now, the 4 to 8 inch snow amounts, that will be primarily for our lakeshore communities, especially in those northwest snow belts, and on top of it, well, we have windy conditions, and that's what is leading to periodic blizzard-like conditions, especially closer to the lakeshore. Our own Aaron Sullivan has been out at the lakeshore between Grand Haven and Muskegon, and it has been quite blustery there all morning long. Of course, just extra time traveling now away from the lakeshore in the greater Grand Rapids area. There has been some improvement on the roadways as the snow somewhat wanes, but again, we have a lot of wind to contend with today, a lot of blowing and drifting snow that could easily ice up the roadways once again, and we also have to just be prepared for some sporadic power outages, and we have seen that all morning long across West Michigan, and especially as you head farther to the north of Big Rapids in parts of Newaygo, Lake, Osceola County to the north and east. Yeah, it gets a little bit out of our neck of the woods, but those areas have seen a lot of ice accretion since Friday morning and really has not warmed up enough to support any melting of that ice that developed over the weekend, Friday into the weekend, and now you're adding on 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts on those trees that are weighed down because of the ice. You can see how issues cause with broken tree limbs, falling on power lines, and you kind of get the point there. Winter storm warning will remain in effect all the way through 7 o'clock this evening up and down the lakeshore. Really don't sense there's going to be any change from that from the National Weather Service. Could see maybe the winter weather advisory expiring a little sooner than 7 o'clock this evening. I think the main takeaway here is that the worst of the impact will continue through early afternoon and then somewhat wane, especially away from the lakeshore. This is the view out of Muskegon. A snow-covered look here in downtown. It's been the case all morning long. Still some travel making its way through, but at the Muskegon County Airport, visibility has been less than a mile. And look at the wind. This is the sustained wind out of the north and west, nearly 30 miles per hour. And some of those top wind gusts today in Muskegon, near 60 miles per hour, just shy of 4 o'clock this morning, 58 mile per hour wind gusts. We've had numerous spots here at home where the wind gusts has topped out over 50 miles per hour. In fact, still gusting between 40 to 50 miles per hour at the lake shore. A little less inland right now. This will vary a touch over the course of the next few hours. But as we head farther towards the end of the day, that's when we'll start to see the wind relax a bit, at least below that criteria of strong winds. Visibility taking a hit because of the snow and wind combination still, especially Muskegon to the north. You can see the wind, there it is, still gusting between 40 to 50 plus miles per hour through afternoon. And then finally, you can see that the wind will diminish a bit, but it'll remain breezy all the way through tomorrow. 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts are notable, and that will be the case all the way through tomorrow at the very least. You can see numbers right now are in the 20s. We have fallen off a fair amount over the last 12 hours. At about 8 o'clock last evening, Kalamazoo and Battle Creek were near 60 degrees, and they're nearly 35 degrees colder in just a matter of 14 hours. In fact, Kalamazoo and Battle Creek actually bottomed out at around 20 degrees earlier this morning. The numbers won't really budge the rest of today because of the cold air in place. There it is, our low pressure system to the north and east of Lake Huron now, but we are on the back side of this system. You can see how the flow around low pressure is always counterclockwise. So you can see when we were out ahead of that cold front yesterday, the wind was coming out of the south. Now it's coming out of the north and west, drawing in that much colder air mass. And you can see the look here, satellite and radar. We have now transitioned really into pure lake effect snow with the cold air overhead of the relatively warmer waters of the Great Lakes, and that northwest wind is supporting these individual bands. That will continue in some capacity, at least through the end of today. You can see scattered snow showers across portions of Ottawa, Allegan, Van Buren County. Some of these snow showers are locally on the heavy side, quickly causing those roads to become snow-covered once again, at least icing up. And you can see scattered snow showers continue eastward of US 131 in parts of Barrie, Kalamazoo, and Calhoun County. To the north, we got one particular band impacting parts of Mecosta, Montcalm County. And then as we get into the lakeshore, you can see those individual snow showers. Again, that will continue in some capacity the rest of today. I really do think that the lake effect will be more confined westward of US 131 as the afternoon goes on, and especially this evening, to the point where we'll start to taper off the lake effect in most spots. But we'll add on a couple more inches at the lakeshore itself. I think a good 2-3+ inches of snow still doable by the end of this evening up and down our lakeshore communities. Of course, as you go eastward of US 131, the greater Grand Rapids area to the east, probably not much more in the way of snow accumulation. Maybe a spot or two could pick up another inch or so. But again, it's all about the wind that will continue to impact us the rest of this afternoon and cause that blowing and drifting snow. So that's something we'll just continue to keep an eye on. You should be mindful about as you're heading out and about if you need to over the course of this Monday. We'll have more weather coming up soon, but back to you, Elena and Dave.
Hey, thanks so much, Blake. So we do have an update. MDOT just released that eastbound I-196 after M40, that's Lincoln Road. Also, keep in mind, that is right where Micah was stopped just a moment ago. The freeway is closed on the eastbound due to a crash. Micah was traveling westbound. That's what we saw just a few moments ago, but they were still stopped. MDOT just released that the right lane on the westbound is blocked too, but you could be able to go on the left. But it just depends on what people are doing there. As we saw, both lanes were stopped just a few moments ago with Micah.
Yeah, so speaking of, let's go right back out to Micah and check in with him as he's traveling. Micah, from my understanding, I think you kind of looped back around. So give us an update on where you are. And also, too, just to give folks a look at conditions you've been seeing all morning long.
Yeah, we were able to find an opportunity to turn back around. So now we're on Lincoln Road, and I'm sorry, I'm just looking at 1, 2, 3. It looks like 3 semi trucks that have slid off of I-196 eastbound as well. That's an accident that we kind of told you about a little bit earlier, maybe about 20 minutes ago. So that is, it's still pretty slick out here. This is Lincoln Road, the M40. You can kind of see it's not much better than it was on the interstate. You know, as I mentioned earlier too, there was a box truck and there's a pickup truck that have slidden off I-196, both east and westbound, maybe about a mile east of Lincoln Road as well. So there's just accidents all over the place over here. I will say too, the sleet has kind of stopped. We are now back into snow. The good thing here, though, is the visibility. The visibility is not that bad, but I want to say that with a grain of salt, because I'll say that the visibility is good, the visibility is bad, and then 5 to 10 seconds later, it all changes, because we get those gusting winds, we get all that snow getting picked up, and then it just gets all bad again. So it's, you know, when you're making your plan to go out for the day, I definitely recommend, you know, making sure you have that extra time, because one minute you could be down a clear road, the next minute, you know, you're going 20 miles per hour, or you're stopped on 196 westbound. So when we were behind those semi trucks there, just after Lincoln Road, and we were stopped, there was no movement whatsoever. Everybody was kind of stopped. So that's something you want to take into account as well. But we are trying to get our way to the Allegan County area. I-96 is just riddled with accidents, or I-196 and 96 as well. All these areas are riddled with accidents, so we're trying to get to where all of these are. Again, I just submitted some video to the newsroom, so hopefully we'll have some video of that 196 eastbound accident at Lincoln Road, where those 3 semi trucks are in the ditches there. So for now, in Ottawa County, I'm Micah Cho for 13 on your side.
You hear what he said? 3 semi trucks have slid off there, and that's what we're seeing. That's closing the eastbound side of I-196 near Lincoln Road. But he said also that's what we saw a few moments ago, where the westbound was closed in at least one lane.
Yeah, we have been seeing those slide outs all all morning
So
long.
be careful.
Clearly, definitely be careful heading out. And another thing that Micah mentioned, talking about those wind gusts. You know, our meteorologist saying we're going to be seeing them all throughout the afternoon. You know, maybe until early evening. And so you're going to see sporadic of those winds picking up, and we're talking strong winds. And so that's why we are definitely making sure that you are weather aware. And if you don't have to go out, just stay in. You know, not in a mode of panic, but just to make you
relax
aware
if you can.
of what's going on, right?
Yeah, there are some things that I know a lot of people could put off maybe until the next day, especially kind of in this in-between week of Christmas and New Year's. But obviously, if you don't, a lot of people still have to head out on the roads. Please be mindful. As Micah just mentioned, visibility right there was good, but a few minutes later, it could be pretty rough. So keep that in mind as you're driving out today.
Yeah, absolutely. And stick with us here on Morning Plus. We are bringing you extended coverage all morning long until the mid-afternoon as we start here our 11 o'clock hour. We are going to be live until 1 this afternoon, bringing you everything that you need to know here as far as winter weather across West Michigan and across the state. So stick with us. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here at Morning Plus. We're welcoming Tanner back into the fold here as our extended winter coverage continues. We're going just a few minutes, but welcome back.
Just a couple minutes, but still great updates have happened over the last hour, right? We saw the reintroduction of the southbound lanes for 196 from that fiery semi-crash near Saugatuck this morning. Not only that, but we also have a couple of different things that we want to get you up to speed at the top of this 11 o'clock hour. So we're going to go right over to 13 on your side's Aaron Sullivan, who has been monitoring conditions from Muskegon State Park this morning. It looks like the wind has significantly died down, at least from our vantage point. I know, Aaron, it has been very windy and blustery for you up there in Muskegon.
Oh, hey guys, no, the wind has not died down. I'll tell you, we actually moved our shot next to a hill. So lucky for me, the wind is not hitting us right now, but I actually want you all to take a look behind me. You can see here, this wind is strong. Like Blake said this morning, we are seeing wind gusts that are over 58 miles per hour. Not to mention, this sand is getting picked up. The snow is getting picked up, but you can also see all of the grass and trees. They're all bending in the direction that this wind is blowing. So this is no joke. This is a strong, more than one gust, but gusts of wind. I mean, this is just really something you don't want to be in. I will say, just 15 minutes ago, we had a family park next to us and go out onto the beach. They had toddlers with them. I'm not going to tell people how to be parents, but I do not recommend. I am 24. I don't want to be out there. It is dangerous. But also, you can see in the background the waves. Let's talk about that a little bit. We are seeing waves that are over 20 feet high. It is really incredible to be here and to see this in person. I mean, West Michigan is just absolutely stunning. So I could understand people wanting to come out to the lakeshore and really enjoy the view. But I will also tell you, it is freezing. It is cold. Conditions are dangerous. Visibility is dangerous out on the road. So if you do decide to leave the house today, please be careful. For now in Muskegon, I'm Aaron Sullivan, 13 on your side.
Yeah, I stand corrected.
Yeah,
Still
please.
braving the elements out there. Yeah, very windy out there up toward Muskegon State Park. And of course, Aaron has been there monitoring those conditions. We really appreciate it. So get warm. We'll check in with you soon.
Yeah, Aaron has been a trooper this morning there on the lakeshore, and that's where the strongest of those gusts we've been, our meteorologist has been telling us, been seeing along the lakeshore.
Yeah.
And she has definitely shown us what that's feeling like there for her.
Well, she needed to get out of that wind because at one point we were watching a Facebook video. You were sent a picture of like just literal sand pelted into her skin. And that just goes to show the winds out there, folks. I mean, it is so windy out there. So we want to get over to meteorologist Blake Hansen, who has been following this for us as well this morning. Blake, the wind gusts have been, treacherous, right?
Yeah, the Weather Service, big shout out to the men and women there at the Grand Rapids office. They've been busy quite as well, and they've been providing some of these storm reports for us that we can feed back to our viewers.
Right.
They just put out their latest top wind gust of today so far, and now the Saugatuck Pier, yes, a bit more because of it coming right off the water.
Right.
64 mile per hour wind gust. Ludington has been now over 60 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And over the last 15 minutes, Muskegon now gusting over 50 miles per hour once again.
So you're talking like highway speeds, basically.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you got to put it in perspective that, again, we're not dealing with severe weather from a thunderstorm perspective.
Right.
But the criteria for a severe thunderstorm is to have a wind gust over 58 miles per hour. And some of our places have approached that or even exceeded that. So just to kind of put the strength of this system in perspective. It's one thing, I want to make this clear, Deja and Tanner. I know there's going to be people out there when they get done with the end of the day saying, I only got 3 inches of snow.
Right.
Well, what are they talking about? But again, it's all about the perspective of that. We don't usually see storm systems, even in the winter, that provide 50+ mile per hour wind gust. We just don't in a given winter. Even though there are no blizzard warnings with this system, our last blizzard warning, and we're kind of near blizzard-like conditions right now. The last blizzard warning was on Christmas Day of 2022. So 3 years ago. You got to go back to 2011 for the prior blizzard warning before that. So again, it's just putting this all in perspective that with the wind aspect of this system, it's not something that we see in a given winter per se, at least that wind combination with the snow. Winter storm warning still in play up and down the lake shore. I do not think that's going to budge anytime soon. This is the view out of Muskegon. Periodically, we see these lake effect bands come through, drop a coating of snow on the ground, icing things back up, and of course the wind is not helping the cause. Sustained wind at 25 miles per hour at Muskegon, but over the last hour, there it is. These are gusts, by the way, 51 mile per hour wind gusts at Muskegon. 44-mile-per-hour wind gust at the Ford International Airport, just southeast of downtown Grand Rapids. And over the last hour, this hasn't updated yet, but again, Ludington, just to the northwest of Ludington, downtown, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust off the lake. So yeah, these are some strong wind gusts, and they are continuing here at this 11 o'clock hour. Even the sustained wind, and when you take away the gust, our sustained wind is anywhere between 20 to 30 miles per hour in more places than not. On a normal, typical winter day, usually our sustained winds anywhere between about 5 to 15 miles per hour. So this is a gusty day, no doubt about it. And of course, with the snow around, it's been impacting our visibility. That's been in and around a mile at best all morning long. In fact, at times, visibility has been near zero, especially up and down the lakeshore where that lake effect will be more prominent. As for the wind the rest of today, we'll continue 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gust. On a broad brush note, would not be surprised a few places at the lakeshore itself will exceed 50 mile per hour wind gusts through afternoon. But once we get towards sunset and into the evening hours today, we'll start to see the wind relax somewhat. And by relaxed, I mean where we're not going to see any more 50 plus mile per hour wind gusts. It still will remain breezy to even windy through tonight. Tomorrow morning, wind gusts will be in the 20 to 30 mile per hour range. Numbers right now are in the 20s. We are much colder than this time yesterday, especially near and southward of I-96, where briefly last evening we soared into the 50s. But 20s will be expected the rest of the day. With the wind, it will feel more like the single digits, especially by the end of this afternoon into the evening. There it is, low pressure, our potent system working its way through the Great Lakes region. We're on the backside of this system now, of course. That's drawing in this colder air mass off a northwest wind. And again, our focus really is now turning to pure lake effect snow bands that will become commonplace westward of US 131. This area right here is going to be one of the areas that really piles up the snow the rest of the afternoon. So roughly from Holland, Saugatuck, the Douglas area, southward, that's where we're really going to see lake effect snow showers take over. So Allegan into Van Buren, western Kalamazoo County, that's going to be where snow will be quite steady in the way of lake effect snow. Farther to the north, if you're watching from the greater Grand Rapids area, you're probably not going to see much more in the way of snow the rest of today. Yeah, a few passing lake effect snow showers, but you're really not in the true lake effect snow belt. That will change, however, for those north of Muskegon the rest of this afternoon. We'll have more weather coming up in just a few minutes.
Good, Blake. Thank you very much. It is just now 11:14 on your Monday morning. So our crews, of course, have been on the road since about 6 this morning. We've been monitoring those road conditions very closely for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And 13 on your side's Michael Joe. He's been giving us live updates on those road conditions, but he also saw a semi-truck that crashed out on US 131. Let's take a look.
I'm going to show you a quick look at conditions right now. It is Monday, December 29, just before 7 o'clock in the morning. And it's getting bad out here. So this is 131 southbound, just north of 54th Street. And this semi-truck, actually, we were driving right next to it when it lost control and flipped around and is now facing northbound on southbound. It was ahead of us, it was going a little fast, and it looked like it caught a little bit of that thick snow on the side of the road, with this being the end result.
So again, one of many semi crashes, slide-offs, what have you. I mean, we've had a lot of issues on the road this morning. That being one of the more telling ones because Micah was in the weather chaser. He saw that slide-off, turned back to go and check it out. Luckily, it sounds like everyone was okay.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that we have these changing road conditions here, and we've been saying it all morning. You even said we sound like a broken record, and boy, do we.
Yeah.
When we have these changing road conditions, whether that be visibility, whether that we have ice on the road, snow over that ice, whatever you have, including that wind, I mean, it gets pretty brutal out there.
Yeah, it definitely does. And of course, we are keeping our folks up to date with all the things and showing you what's to come. Now, we're going to take a quick short break and we're going to actually check back in with Chris Bruin with the Weather Channel. And we're going to take a look at what our folks up north are seeing here shortly after this break.
All right, 11:19 is your time. We want to show you just how impactful the wind has been today. So let's take a live look at the GVSU tower camera. So this is the Pew campus there, right downtown GR. Folks, you see the camera shaking. No, that is not an earthquake.
And it's not anyone up there shaking it.
Right. It is the wind, and that is just how brutal that wind has been. Same story when we travel north to Traverse City. We want to go right now to meteorologist Chris Bruin with the Weather Channel. He has been kind of up there in Traverse City, keeping tabs on the conditions there. We were just taking a look at one of our tower cameras here at the station, Chris, and the wind is absolutely whipping here in Grand Rapids. And I would imagine that's the same story up there near Traverse City.
Yeah, we have officially gusted to 58 miles per hour at the Cherry Capital Airport here in Traverse City. And I'll tell you, we checked in a couple hours ago. Conditions are even worse now. Visibility is some of the worst I've seen. I can barely make out the other side of the street. I want to pan over. There's some condos there. I mean, it's a total whiteout. All right, look at the flag. I mean, it is rocking and rolling. And we've talked to some local city crews here in Traverse City, and even just some locals who are out walking around, wanted to stop by and say hi, and they live here their whole life. And while the snow isn't like the most impressive snowstorm you guys have ever seen in Traverse City, they said the wind is absolutely insane, and we don't get this kind of wind that often, okay? We're on the shores of Grand Traverse Bay, and obviously with visibility like this, you're not even going to be able to see it, but from what the city crew said, she's like, typically the water's very calm. This is a protected harbor off of Lake Michigan, and the way the waves are right now, splashing up over the seawall, she says there's some of the largest she's ever seen, especially in more recent years. So I just want to paint this picture. We're going to be like this all day. Blowing, drifting snow becomes a big issue. I mean, look at the park. There's a playground over there. And the swings, I mean, they're just moving by themselves. And notice the trees. You've got, this is a good one here, Lauren, if you can see the tree. Notice how it's plastered with snow on one side, and then the other side is bare. That's what we're seeing on the cars. Certain parts of your drive to your house or in your neighborhood is going to have drifts, and then other sides will be total exposed. And because we had rain overnight and then temperatures plummeted, we had that flash freeze, and that created a solid sheet of ice. We talked to some of the city sanitation crews, and they were out all morning. They're out still, and they said the ice has been very tricky, and most roads have, kind of a solid sheet of ice. They're able to remove the snow, but it's the visibility and the wind that have been a huge concern. At last check, we hadn't had any road closures in the Traverse City, but that doesn't mean there's not problems. And trying to get down towards, say, Manistee, or even down towards Grand Rapids, absolutely difficult. I mean, it's like this for all of Western Michigan, because the winds are widespread. Even if you're not getting in on the heaviest snowfall, like other parts of the state are, you're still dealing with those wind gusts, and it's caused a lot of havoc this morning at airports, some big hubs like Detroit. They're not getting as much snow, but they're still gusting over 40 to 50 miles per hour. And get this, the UP of Michigan still under blizzard warnings right now. Marquette has had over 22 inches of snow, and that was several hours ago. I can imagine that total will get even larger. Here in Traverse City, I would say we're probably closing in on about 5 or 6 inches, and we've got another 3 to 6 inches to go, I would say, before all is said and done. The winds will continue through about dinner time here, not just in Traverse City, but across much of Michigan. And then tonight, they'll slowly start to come back down. Tomorrow, we won't have nearly the kind of wind, but the snow will still stick around. We've got a little clipper system that's going to come swinging back through the Great Lakes, so that will bring in more snow later in the afternoon and tomorrow night. But I do think travel will be a lot better tomorrow. It's going to take a little while to clean up, and for most people, I mean, even Traverse City, it's kind of shutting them down. A lot of businesses probably didn't even open. We haven't seen a lot of people out, aside from, a handful of cars that will come. This is Front Street, and there's people driving from one end of town to the other. But once you get outside the city limits, that's when you run into big problems. So what you see is what you're going to get here pretty much all afternoon. And imagine at night as we lose whatever daylight we have, and we're still dealing with these kinds of gusts, wind, and blowing snow.
Yeah, meteorologist Chris Bruin, our friend from the Weather Channel, giving us that update from Traverse City. He's live there. I mean, we appreciate your reporting up there, especially as we know just how windy it is. I mean, we can see it through that camera. We can hear it through his microphone, right? And it is so telling. And we actually have been seeing wind issues all day long. He mentioned West Michigan too, right? Lots of wind associated with this system coming through, especially down here toward our neck of the woods as well.
I mean, his statement, what you see is what you get, is what we're seeing and what we are getting right here. Take a look at our video here as these powerful winds hitting the lakeshore. Our Aaron Sullivan has been giving us live updates there from the lakeshore, and this is what we were seeing this morning and here with her recent live update. Look how strong those winds are.
Yeah, at the top of the hour, we asked Blake about what the mile per hour on the wind gauge here was, right? So we're talking like upwards of 60 miles an hour in those winds that you're seeing. And you can see just how much those waves are kicking up with that too. And meteorologist Chris Bruin up in Traverse City was telling us that they have seen waves in the Grand Traverse Bay there just off of Lake Michigan. So it is very, very telling when we've got these winds, not only down here in our portion of West Michigan, and then you go all the way up to Traverse City, the Grand Traverse County area, and you're seeing a lot of wind whipping. And from Aaron's point of view, earlier this morning, that sand.
That combination, right?
Yeah.
That combination of snow and sand just whipping up with those strong gusts. I mean, who's cycling out there?
Okay, well, maybe don't do that, folks. Let's maybe not do that.
Wow.
But, you know, I mean, people just out there trying to, I guess, enjoy the thrill of it all. But I mean, again, I would say that's probably pretty dangerous on a weather impact alert day like today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, of course, looking at those conditions there, let's give you a look at live conditions. We've been checking back in with Micah Cho all morning long. He's been up with us 5, 6 o'clock this morning, giving us views on the roadways. Micah, let's check back in with you. Where are you and what are you seeing?
Yeah, we're kind of in that Saugatuck area in Allegan County. We are just about to turn onto Old Allegan Road, kind of by the I-196 area, to see if we can still see any remnants of that semi-truck fire that we saw earlier this morning. Now, I want to say we've been talking about the wind all morning, and I know we just heard from Traverse City as well. It's going up there. It doesn't seem like it now. I'm a little disappointed, but it was... maybe probably 30, 45 seconds ago, we literally had the wind push our car. So the wind is kicking up. You know, we are surrounded by trees right now, so I'm hopefully that's breaking it up a little bit. But I will say maybe about a minute or two, it was the opposite of fun. I would probably call it anti-fun, is where we're at with the wind right now. We actually just stopped at the gas station to take a restroom break, and when I opened the doors to the gas station, it took me a second. I had to use a little bit of force to close the gas station doors to the outside. So it's just been it's been pretty crazy out there. Let's take a look at these roads. Right now, we're just about to Old Allegan Road, about 800 feet, but snow-covered roads, that is what we are seeing all over the place. It's been on and off. Are those roads covered with snow? Yes. Are they covered with snow? No. So it really all depends. I know we've been talking about being broken records all morning. Actually, Jacob, maybe we want to take a left here. It looks like Old Allegan Road is closed here as well. But yeah, it depends on where you are. You know, the weather is varying out here. You know, Kent County weather is very different than Allegan County and Ottawa County weather. I would say maybe it's a little bit more mild in Kent County, but we had our fair share of bad experiences in Kent County this morning, especially in Caledonia. The wind was really gusting up there as well. So looks like, you know, as we were talking about changing road conditions, we had snow-covered roads not too long ago. This portion of Old Allegan Road is now we are back onto the snow-covered roads. So we're trying to make our way over to where that accident was earlier today, where that semi-truck fire was. So for now, live in Allegan County, I'm Micah Cho for 13 on your side.
All right, Michael, good stuff right there, giving us those live updates on road conditions as he's been, in Dave Cackley's word, meandering across Kent County, Allegan County, just showing us what he's seeing and what you could see if you head out right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the other thing, too, is he mentioned that road closure at Old Allegan Road where they had to go left and not right there. That is exactly where that crash was earlier this morning. So Old Allegan near I-196. So we're talking about that fiery one very close to Saugatuck. I would imagine that's why we're seeing maybe that road closure there too. So again, it goes to show you those changing road conditions that we've got out there.
Yeah, road conditions as well as power outages. We've been talking about that, those that have been without power. We're talking early this morning, thousands without power, and how consumers' energy has been, on it, responding to those. And we actually talked with Representative Trish this morning on the tips and things that they were offering on what the crews were doing out on responding to those power outages. Power outages. We are been talking about it this morning. A lot of folks have without power at this hour, and so we want to bring in the experts to talk about what's being done right now, who is getting coverage, and how they plan to continue their preparation and to help restore power to those that are without this morning.
Yeah, so let's bring in Trisha Bloomberg in with Consumers Energy. We appreciate your time, Trisha. Let's start off with what you guys are experiencing right now across the state and then zero that into West Michigan. What are you guys seeing?
Throughout the weekend, we have seen some significant weather that has impacted customers. Earlier in the weekend, this was mostly in Clare County and Big Rapids, but as you all mentioned, those high wind gusts are starting to come off the lake and really make an impact on the West Coast and throughout Southwest Michigan. So right now, we're looking at about 46,000 customers that are impacted.
Okay, 46,000 across the entire state. You mentioned the wind gusts, right, that we have been seeing that are leading to a lot of our power outages this morning. I know that you guys have been doing work to make sure that some of those power lines are underground so things like this don't happen. But with things as it is right now, what do you recommend to those folks out there that don't have power? What should they be doing right now?
Throughout the year, we work to strengthen our grid, and we're working even outside of these storm circumstances. So if you do see a downed wire, we encourage you to stay away at least 25 feet away and call 911 and then give us a call at Consumers Energy at 1-800-477-5050. Safety is our #1 goal, so we really, really encourage folks to be weather aware.
Yeah, and I know a lot of folks could be, a little frustrated, at the moment as they're just, without power.
You wake up and it's out, right?
Yeah, what can you tell to those folks that are, maybe just up in arms this morning, but you have crews, hundreds of crews that are out working at this hour to restore power?
We understand how difficult it is to be without power, especially throughout the weekend and during this holiday season when a lot of folks are gathering. So we want everyone to know that throughout the weekend, we've had hundreds of crews working to restore power and that we have more than 400 crews on our system right now that will not stop until every last customer is restored. We do expect some continued power outages as these high wind gusts continue, but do know that even if our crews aren't able to get up in the buckets, they are doing other work so that they can restore power as quickly and safely as possible.
Yeah, Trisha, let us into your process here. How does this work? So when a power outage assessment comes in, how do you guys assess that and then triage the situation to be able to get people their power back as quickly as possible? Explain that process.
Absolutely. As soon as we're aware of a power outage, our crews are deployed on the scene to assess the damage and figure out really what is the issue. At that time, during that assessment period, on the outage map, you will see that your outage is under assessment, and so you may not have an ETR. As we start to figure out exactly what that issue is, those ETRs will start to come in. And throughout that period, our crews are working as safely and quickly as possible. So for instance, if it is a downed tree that is impacting the line, then we'll have crews on the ground removing those limbs and branches.
Yeah, I'm looking at the outage map right now. A lot of it does say they have those tags as to what actually happened there, whether that be storm damage or downed wires, or it is clearly labeled. If you go zero into your area and you have power out, you can clearly see that on the map.
Yeah, you definitely can. And what I admire, and of course you all are doing your jobs, but the preparation, coming for this time. Of course, we're in the height of the winter season.
Right.
Talk about preparation. What does that look like for crews as far as assessing the area? Of course, we can't control Mother Nature. We don't know what she's going to do, where she's going to go. But talk about that preparation for times like these.
As you mentioned, here in Michigan, we're always unsure exactly what the weather will do, but we are constantly monitoring the weather and we are prepared. We started monitoring this weather situation last week. And as those models started to become more certain, we really lined up all of our crewing needs to ensure that we can respond to outages when they happen. And that also means that a lot of our coworkers that may have planned to take holidays, they're not doing that anymore, and we are ready for the job. We know that our number one priority is for our customers, so we're here and ready to respond if there are any power interruptions.
Yeah, we had mentioned at the top of this interview, Tricia, that we have a bulk of your customers are without power in the mid-Michigan area, so up toward Mount Pleasant, but also a good chunk of those folks fall within the Big Rapids area. So that's, of course, just north a little bit on 131 from where we're at in Grand Rapids. For those customers in Big Rapids, what was the issue there? I guess what are the main causes of the power outages up there toward Big Rapids? I know that they were dealing with a lot of snow and ice from over the weekend, too.
The large weather event that came through this weekend with the ice and the high winds is really what's causing some of these reoccurring outages. So we've had more than 90,000 customers that were impacted in that area from this weekend weather, and our crews are on the ground continuing to restore power. Unfortunately, because the winds and the ice melt off, it may cause some reoccurring outages, but we want our customers up in that area to rest assured that we are on the ground working to restore power as quickly and safely as possible.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And I know that you guys have those crews stationed across the state getting ready for this event. How do you guys pinpoint what areas you guys are going to place those crews?
During a lot of our pre-planning, we start to figure out where are those hardest hit areas going to be. As you know, in Michigan, it's not always certain to know exactly where that will be. So we really are prepared to respond and be flexible based on the impact. Right now, we have mobile command centers set up in Clare County, as well as Big Rapids, which you mentioned are our hardest hit areas, so that we can provide that on the ground targeted strategic support.
Yeah, I like that. And of course, you all keeping folks up to date in the know of what they should be watching out for as they report those outages. Tricia, talk to us about the what people or where they should go to report their outages or any other concerns in their area.
You can always call us at Consumers Energy at 1-800-477-5050. Or if you have access, go ahead and visit the outage map at consumersenergy.com/outage map. You can put in your address to get specific details on the outage that is impacting your area and have some more information.
What about, I know you guys do text alerts. Where can we sign up for that if we know that there's an outage, but we want to get the most up-to-date information? I have the text alerts. I know that it's very easy to be able to see those updates as they're coming in. Where can we go to sign up for not only text alerts, but also email alerts as well?
Absolutely. We recommend that everyone sign up for those text alerts, download the app so you can get the most up-to-date information. To sign up for all of those alerts and to get more information on outage preparation, we encourage you to visit consumersenergy.com/outage center. And that's where you can find a lot more of those details and communications.
If we've got folks that do have no power right now, what are the best ways to conserve energy or conserve heat in our homes? I know it's very cold outside in many locations, but also, I think a lot of people worry about the food in their fridge, right, during this time when they don't have power. Do you have any tips for folks out there who may be experiencing power loss this morning?
Absolutely. The first thing is that we want to Rest assured that we are working as quickly and safely as possible and that we really greatly appreciate your patience. If you are without power and you are comfortable within your own home, we encourage you to stay there. Stay safe, stay off the roads. As you all have mentioned, the road conditions are not great this morning. So stay home, get cozy, grab a blanket, an extra sweatshirt, close those blinds and curtains so you can really retain that heat inside of your home. When it comes to food safety, as much as possible, try and keep your refrigerator and your freezer doors closed. If you have access to internet, please visit foodsafety.gov for more specific information on the types of foods that you can keep and ones that you may have need to dispose of depending on your outage conditions.
Yeah, my fear is like all those people with those Christmas dinner leftovers, right? Still in the fridge.
Yeah.
You're maybe waiting to keep them a couple more days. So definitely a good resource to go to that website and figure out if you can keep that, especially after a big power loss.
Trisha, I love all of the information you're giving right now. Great stuff for folks that are watching and folks that may be without power right now. What would you say it would be not even a challenge, but a big message you want to hit home when it comes to storms like this and systems that we may continue to see in this winter season? What message could you drive home right now?
As we all know that throughout this past week, we've seen several winter systems come through and impact our customers. And we want everyone to know that we are prepared and we're planning. We are ready to respond to any power interruptions. So as you go through these occurrences, we really appreciate your patience and we encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. We want to work with our customers to make sure that they're comfortable and they're safe.
Welcome back. It is 11:43 on your Monday. We have Elena Holland joining our coverage back this morning. Wow.
morning.
It is, I know. I'm like, what time is it?
Like,
We've
is
been
it?
on for so long, right? It feels like it should be the noon hour, which we are approaching, by the way. It has just been so windy, so snowy.
So crazy.
Icy. I mean, your drive-in seems like it was on the easier side.
Ooh, comparatively.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but I knew I was prepared. I knew
Yeah.
I left really early and just kind of took things slow because things were definitely icy, snow covered. blowy, and that's kind of one of the biggest issues. You can definitely see how things are blowing out on the lakeshore. That's where we find 13 on your sides, Erin Sullivan. She is live at Muskegon State Park, where I don't envy her today. She's quite cold. She bundled up with lots of layers. But Erin, what does it look like there?
Hi guys. Yeah, if you're just joining us at home, we've been live here on the lakeshore all morning long, and it is super cold. But I will say, with the proper amount of layers, it's not too bad. But I've got to say, life hack, if you're doing a live shot when the wind is just absolutely blistering, we are next to a hill. So it may not look that bad on camera right now, but earlier, if you caught us during the 9:30 hour, we were on the lakeshore, we were on the beach, and that wind was just picking up that snow, picking up that sand, and just throwing it everywhere. You can even see the grass that's on the ground is even moving towards the direction where the wind is blowing. We can still see that sand and snow on the street getting picked up and thrown over. And you can see the waves too. I mean, definitely not a calm day over here in Muskegon. But I want to talk about the waves really quickly. Blake Hansen was reporting that we are seeing waves over 20 feet high here on the lake today. So definitely quite a sight to see, especially if you had to drive in this. Visibility wasn't great this morning, as this sand is very grainy. It's very fine, and that is getting picked up and tossed all across the road, really. So this morning it was a pretty dangerous drive, but now it's lighter out. So of course that's great news. Visibility is much better once that sun does rise and it gets a little bit lighter out. But yeah, definitely not the day to go out sledding, not the day to take your family to the beach either. I would say stay home if you can. We are seeing slide-offs and crashes all across West Michigan. But yeah, we are here again at Muskegon State Park, braving the cold and showing you the conditions here. Tanner, Elena?
Do you see those waves?
Oh my gosh. Hitting that, I guess it's a buoy. I mean, those waves, it was right up there with the height of it, right? I mean, in some areas we are seeing 20-foot waves. And I think that is just so telling of, one, the wind picture this morning, two, how that wind is factoring into all the snow that we're seeing. And that's really where it gets tricky out there.
Yeah, and I love seeing those water cam, the Grand Haven, Muskegon tower cams when it is really snowy, because you can see the wind blowing. It's very indicative by those waves. And that's what one of the big concerns is, those, not so much for the waves, but for the wind on the roads. It's blowing the snow across the road. Right. It's making visibility really tough. And we do have somebody who's right there on the ground, on the roads, looking at that, making sure that we can, see what the conditions are like that. Yeah,
and that person would be 13 on your sides, Micah Cho. He's been driving around West Michigan for us all morning long. He has stepped out of the weather chaser at this point because we have been telling you about that accident that happened on I-196. This involves a semi. Micah, we understand this was a very fiery crash. So what are you seeing and what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we are at River Bluff Park in Saugatuck Township. This is Old Allegan Road. And take a look at this. I mean, these are the remnants of the semi-truck fire from earlier this morning. I think it was around 7 a.m. I mean, take a look at this. The semi-truck is off of 196. Now it's kind of leaning down towards Old Allegan Road. We can see some firefighters still spraying it down with water. It looks like it is still kind of smoking a little bit. Not too long ago, we saw a loader actually take pieces of the semi-truck and then later put it into this dump truck over here, over by that road closed sign. So it's still a very active scene here. We are seeing, I don't know what side of 196 that is, but we are seeing cars every once in a while coming across that bridge there. But we did hear earlier today too that this bridge was damaged. I mean, take a look at all that soot that's still caked onto the bridge. That 14-foot, that clearance sign there where it says 14 feet 8 inches. I mean, that's black from all the fire that was there earlier this morning. I don't know if we have video up of it, but we did see some very fiery video from this morning. Actually, Jacob, I don't know if you can see that, but we have that loader coming back now. He's going to dump some more of that semi truck into this loader. There's no clear time frame as to how long Old Allegan Road will be closed. I guess it's until this semi-truck is, I guess, in the back of that truck there. Just speaking of the wind, I don't know if you can hear me that well or not, but the wind is still really picking up here in Allegan County. Just not too long ago while we were coming down Old Allegan Road, that wind was still pushing us, even with the trees, kind of blocking that path of the wind. So we'll stay out here for a little bit and try to figure out a little bit more about this crash. For now, in Allegan County, I'm Micah Cho for 13 on your side.
All right, Micah, yeah, a telling scene after the fact from that semi-crash. Again, that started around 7 this morning. We were learning about it as the morning went on. We saw that picture of that the fire that was involved with this, and now the aftermath, where it seems like everything in terms of the fire is calmed down, but now begins the long cleanup process, and that's why that road is closed right now.
Yeah, and we have confirmed one person is injured in this, at least,
Right.
and as you saw, the overpass is damaged. We have an interesting photo of this on our Facebook page, so make sure you go check that out. Right now, at this point, we don't really know what led up to that situation.
Right.
But it is still closed on the on the northbound side. The southbound has since reopened.
I think it is safe to say that we did see this semi-accident happen because of the impacts from our weather today. I think it's safe to say that.
Contributed to it.
Yeah, at least contributed to it. So for more on the weather, we have meteorologist Colton Woods here joining us. And we know that this is one of the major impacts that we've seen all morning long. We're talking visibility issues. We're talking slick roads,
Fun out
snow. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun out there.
Rude awakening after the past couple of weeks,
Yes.
that's for sure. I mean, we dealt with a green Christmas. It was mild. We hit 52 yesterday, some of us in the 60s. And now winter is back, and it will continue to stay here into 2026. Looking at Muskegon right now, though, it's definitely cold out there, sitting at 26 degrees. But when you factor in a sustained wind of nearly 30 miles per hour, it is feeling almost like the single digits. Visibility also reduced along the lakeshore, and the lakeshore really will be the area of focus heading into the afternoon hours. You can see Ludington's visibility is down to half a mile, but further down to the south and further inland, including us here in Grand Rapids, our visibility has been improving throughout the day as that lake effect snow is really starting to be confined from about Ludington, Muskegon, down toward Kalamazoo, where Kalamazoo and Battle Creek are actually seeing poor visibility. The big story today by far was the wind. Earlier today, Muskegon gusted upwards of almost 60 miles per hour, 58 miles per hour at the Muskegon County Airport, and it's still pretty strong along the lakeshore. Muskegon is still gusting upwards of over 50 miles per hour, so we're still seeing very strong winds, even further inland, gusting upwards of almost 40 in Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo, 44 in Holland, and 45 right now in Fremont. Hour by hour shows those 45 mile per hour wind gusts will continue through the rest of this afternoon, at least until the mid-afternoon hours, and then heading into this evening and especially overnight tonight into Tuesday morning. That's when the wind will begin to relax, likely below 30 miles per hour. Temperatures, it's definitely feeling more like winter out there, generally in the 20s, 26 in Grand Rapids, 27 in Holland, and 30 degrees is the actual air temperature currently in South Haven. Temperatures will stay in the 20s now. We will not warm up this afternoon, actually. We'll hold steady in at least the mid-20s now. The lake effect snow, at least here in Grand Rapids, is coming to an end, but along the lakeshore, it will continue into the early evening hours before slowly tapering off overnight tonight. Satellite and radar shows here's that storm system that has really traversed the entirety of the Great Lakes. Now it is moving off to the northeast in Canada, but behind it, still funneling in cold air and breezy conditions, not windy conditions, all across the state of Michigan. Zooming in on our lake effect snow, all the lake enhanced snow earlier today is now moving off to the south, but we're having some lake effect belts now, especially closer to the lakeshore. So Grand Rapids, really not seeing much in the way of impacts, at least from falling snow right now. You can see the band is really setting up from about Kalamazoo County, Van Buren County, into Allegan and western Allegan and western Ottawa County, also impacting Muskegon and Oceana still. But further inland, you can see Kent County really not seeing a whole lot, and that will continue to be the case the rest of the daytime hours today. You can see by the time we get to 5 p.m., the worst of the conditions really will be focused to the southwest of Grand Rapids, and overnight tonight, that's when the snow will begin to taper off. Additional snowfall, like I mentioned, will be the heaviest near and to the south of, I would say, Holland toward Kalamazoo. A significant band could still develop, bringing a few inches of additional snow by the time we get to Monday evening. Another round of snow does look likely, though, heading into Tuesday night into Wednesday. This one will likely bring an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow by the time we get to Wednesday morning. So through the remainder of the daytime hours today, blizzard-like conditions will be possible with higher impacts to travel. However, heading into Tuesday morning, conditions will improve ahead of another system moves in late in the day on Tuesday into Wednesday, bringing some impacts to West Michigan.
All right, thank you so much, Colton. We're keeping an eye on this all day because, it's not over just yet.
No, not yet. So we are actually going to continue our coverage here in about 5 minutes. We're actually going to go down from 13 plus. We're going to come back up here in just a couple minutes on 13 plus and for our viewers on WZZM ABC. So here in just a couple minutes, we're going to resume our coverage with 13 on Your Side News at noon.
We'll see you just in a few.
Ella got rid of my love handles and my belly fat.
Do you want that flat stomach? You go get that flat stomach.
Call Sonobello. Get in there for your free consultation.
Do this for you.
Schedule your free, no-obligation consultation. Our flexible payment options make it easy to get started today.
1-800-765-8457.
13 on your side at 6 and streaming on 13 Plus. News that impacts you and your community. 13 on your side at noon with Elena Holland starts right now.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us today at noon. We are in the middle of this right now, following this dangerous conditions from the snow event that we've had overnight, keeping an eye on it all morning.
It has been really kind of a treacherous morning commute. I think the benefit here is that we don't have the kiddos in school right now.
Yes, that is very thankful.
No school buses running. We don't have any teenagers driving on the roads. It's just one of those things where we don't want to freak people out on what's going on outside, but it is very important that you are aware and alert of the dangers that could happen in these severe weather travel conditions.
And I know the morning commute is largely over at this point. It's noon, but people are still out and traveling, and there's still a lot going on. So let's check in with our meteorologist, because we have two here today, meteorologist Colton Woods and meteorologist Blake Hansen. We are talking about what's happening next. We've been kind of backtracking, looking at the dangerous roads all morning, but what's happening next? Can you tell us?
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing, Tanner and Elena, is that we have now transitioned to pure lake effect snow. So for those that are not in a typical lake effect snow belt, a lot of the snow is probably wrapping up for the day. And again, it wasn't really all about the snow amounts per se. It's about the wind that has been as advertised. That's been creating some of these issues, few sporadic power outages as well. And, you know, we're still continuing our 13 weather impact alert here at noon. And that's the case really the rest of today, is that the worst conditions were earlier this morning. But I will want to make it clear here is that those at the lakeshore are going to continue contending with lake effect snow showers. And with the combination of snow and wind, periodically can still hold on to near blizzard-like conditions. And we just want to be prepped for those whiteout conditions. As always with lake effect, varying visibility in just a matter of minutes. You can go from a decent look like our tower camera here in Walker, and then you can get into whiteout conditions within a few minutes. Different story at Grand Haven. Well, we had our Grand Haven camera around earlier, but it was showcasing those strong waves, those high waves up and down Lake Michigan. Some of the waves across Lake Michigan today could exceed 20 feet. Of course, we're still holding on to warnings and advisories across the area. There's our system. It is now to the north and east of Lake Huron. We are now just contending with the cold lake effect snow with this system. And yeah, Colton, you can really see that up and down the lakeshore, contending with those snow showers. And even for those that are watching maybe up in Oceana, Mason County, Pentwater to Ludington, the radar's overshooting the lake effect snow right now. So while it looks like there's no snow falling in Ludington, that is not the case.
It's definitely snowing up there.
Yeah, and we can tell that because visibility at the Mason County Airport is a half mile. And lake effect snow is going to really take over for our immediate lakeshore communities the rest of today. And if there is a sweet spot, it will be between Ludington and Pentwater. And then another sweet spot will be between Holland, Kalamazoo, back to the lakeshore. And those typical spots off a northwest wind. Yeah, Colton, you know, look at the wind, though. Everyone's been impacted by the wind today. Saugatuck Pier, 64-mile-per-hour wind gust earlier today. Ludington, Whitehall, over 60 miles per hour. And even at the Muskegon County Airport, a 58-mile-per-hour wind gust earlier this morning. And winds are still quite gusty.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Look at some of these winds here, still gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's not going to go away anytime soon, at least this afternoon. It'll take until after sunset for the wind to somewhat calm down, and it really won't calm down until really tomorrow morning. There's the look at visibility. You can see Ludington, Muskegon, only 3/4 of a mile. So there's definitely some snow flying for sure, and temperatures are below freezing. Really keep that in mind heading out and about. While roads, the main drags, especially in the greater Grand Rapids area, improving since the snow has waned. It is still cold outside, and any burst of lake effect snow that comes overhead can quickly ice things up. And there's a better look at the numbers the rest of today. Yeah, there's no warmth in sight here on this Monday. Colton, you're going to take a look at Maine weather coming up in just a few minutes. We're going to have more on what we can expect and possibly another round of snow come tomorrow evening. We'll have more on that. But first things first, we're going to send it back over to Tanner and Elena.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much. Of course, with this system, a lot of the snow impacts, I think, are largely over, as we were hearing. But another impact we have been seeing is the wind in a place that it has been particularly windy even right now is up in Muskegon.
Yeah, we were watching some of the waves there on the lake, and they are just crashing really tall. And that's where we find 13 on your sides, Erin Sullivan. She is braving the wind for us today. Ooh. She is bundled up very well with lots of layers, just so you all know at home. Erin, how do things look like out there?
Hey guys, yeah, definitely still super windy. We're actually set up right next to a hill right now, so it may not seem like the wind seems as treacherous as we've been describing, but take a look out into the distance here. We can not only see the sand from the ground, but also the wind getting picked up, because like Blake said earlier, this is fine snow that we're dealing with. This wind is just throwing this across the roads. You can even see the waves. These waves have been reported to be over 20 feet high, so definitely treacherous conditions along the lakeshore. But Blake even mentioned we have a documentation that these wind gusts are getting up to 68 miles per hour, and we 100% believe that. We were on the lakeshore earlier on one of the beaches. We're here at Muskegon State Park, and that sand was just getting lifted up and just thrown into our faces. I mean, it was difficult to even stand up straight. That's how strong this wind is. So if you're thinking to yourself, gosh, this looks absolutely stunning, I'd love to see this in person, I totally get you, and I totally agree with you. It is absolutely stunning, but it's also dangerous. So not a bad idea to wait a few days before you want to see the winter wonderland across West Michigan. We'll maybe wait until those winds die down just a little bit. For now in Muskegon, I'm Erin Sullivan, 13 on your side.
Ooh, chilly.
So I like her little warning. You know, if you want to go out there, just know it's going to be really really windy, really cold, and the roads to get there are also going to be pretty tough.
I was going to say, and also she's been standing out in the wind all morning long. That wind makes it feel colder than it actually is out there. So just keep that in mind if you are headed out anywhere. Bundle up for sure, I think, is the main story here.
And we've seen the impacts of this weather on the roads all morning long. Let's go to 13 on your side's Micah Cho. He is live outside of I-196 near the Saugatuck area, where there was a pretty intense fiery crash this morning with a semi-truck. He's going to give us all the details. Micah, how do things look like out there?
I apologize if I'm screaming. It is a little bit hard to hear, but the Saugatuck Township Fire Chief was graciously allowed us to get a little bit closer to where the semi-truck fire was on Old Allegan County Road. This is where we are right now. You can see remnants of that semi-truck right there. We have a Bobcat and we have another loader here just taking these pieces of this semi-truck and then shipping them off maybe 100 feet away over into a dump truck. So this is, it still very much smells like there was a fire here. We can see, excuse me, I don't know if that's dust or if that's smoke still coming from the semi-truck, but not too long ago, we did see firefighters, my apologies. We did see firefighters spraying this with water. So it's still a very active scene here. Again, this is pieces of that semi-truck going into the dump truck. So right now, the northbound lanes of I-196 are still closed. The southbound lanes are reopened. There has to be, according to the fire chief, there has to be a bridge inspection done here before they can reopen the road. You can see, Jacob, let's show a little bit of this bridge. You can still see all the suet just caked on to these columns and even on the other side of this bridge of where this fire was. So we're going to stay out here a little bit longer. For now, live in Allegan County, I'm Mike Cho on your side.
And Micah, I know you spoke with one of the fire chiefs out there. Can you tell us what they were talking about? What happened with this accident? Okay,
yeah,
we'll come back
Lena,
to Micah later.
If you could still hear me.
Yep. We got you.
Yeah, if you if you guys could still hear me, he told us that I did ask the fire chief if weather was a factor in this. He did say that yes, he does believe it. That the semi truck slid in between the two overpasses here. So again, the fire chief does believe that today's early morning winter weather did play a factor into this semi truck into the position of where it is now. He also did tell me that nobody was injured in this crash as well. So that's good to hear.
That's some good news. I know earlier there was they reported that they believed one person was injured. To hear that they're not is actually incredible with that accident.
Especially with what has happened and what we're seeing, the aftermath, especially right now as they're cleaning up Old Allegan Road there. It's miraculous that no one else or anybody was injured in this. So, Michael, we appreciate the reporting. Again, this is something that we have been seeing since about 7 this morning. And it has taken the better part of 6 to 7 hours to get all of this cleaned up here. And we're even seeing this truck here go ahead and push it into the loader to get this area cleaned up. And it makes you wonder, just what the situation was at the time when this was all going on. I know that he said that this semi slid down that way, but it almost makes you wonder just what exactly what was the perfect condition to make this all happen.
Yeah, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more about that. And just also, once again, southbound is since reopened. That northbound where the crash happened is closed and likely will be for a while. As Micah mentioned, they're waiting for that bridge inspection before it can open back up.
Okay, it is about 12:10 on your Monday afternoon. We'll be right back after this.
Hey, our team tests tons of products. I get rid of the rejects for you. I'm not here to waste your time. I just bring you the best, plus the products we can get you an exclusive deal on. And today, we have you covered in a big way. Come on in. This is the Static Go Hub Power Bank. It's an amazing 6-in-1 device. And let me show you why I love this so much. And I have two of them by the way. This is the one I use for travel, and this is the one I keep at home right here. You can plug it in the wall to charge it with that digital display, so you know how much longer you have to go. But then you can also charge it if you're on the run right over here. It has a USB and a USB-C. Then comes the part that you really care about, which is how do you charge your devices? You can charge multiple devices at once. Like I said, I use this to travel because I travel a lot for work. This is my computer charger. This is the charger I use for my iPad. I have a phone charger. I have the laptop. I also have another charger just for my earbuds. It's a real drag. This one can do all of it at once, and it has all the different connections. It has the USB-C. It has the micro USB for your earbuds. It has the lightning charger as well, and it all happens really, really fast, and it charges up really fast too. You need this, trust me. Like I said, I have two of them. And look how small it is. Fits right into your pocket, nice and easy. All right, the deal for you today, let's get to it. $39.99 normally, today for you, $31.99, 20% off. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to shoptvdeals.com.
13 on your side mornings, working overnight to get you the latest breaking news. Stay ahead of the storm with Weather Impact Alert Days. Start with a team you trust on 13 on your side mornings. Weekdays starting at 5 a.m. For 13 on your side, our sponsors and local Toys for Tots campaigns, thank you. You brighten the holidays for tens of thousands of West Michigan children. Imagine Christmas morning and all that joy. We appreciate your generous donations.
I'm calling again about that estimate I was supposed to get 3 weeks ago. I was just wondering if you'd be able to come out and measure my tub. Just calling to see if anyone can come out and take a look at my bathroom. Go boom, 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 and you're done.
Thank you for calling West Shore Home.
When you're tired of chasing down callbacks, West Shore Home is ready to get your project started. To lock in your price that's good for an entire year, call the number on your screen now or visit westshorebath.com for buy one, get one savings. That's remodeling reimagined.
I've been busy lately. I tried a wrongful death case for $75 million. I settled a different wrongful death for $37 million and another one for $20 million. Those are massive numbers, unprecedented for any law firm in this town, unprecedented for the state of Michigan, and I'm personally involved. We get more money for clients than anyone in this town. Ask around. Let's meet. Call or click. It's free. Who you hire matters.
At Lacari's, every dish we serve is made daily. Our Hudsonville spot isn't fine dining or reservation only. We're casual. Stop in for happy hour, bring the family, or grab a cozy booth for date night. Our focus on authentic Sicilian food is as delicious as the atmosphere, with meats and cheeses imported from Italy. And save room for cannolis and lemon mascarpone olive oil cake for dessert. Lacari's, your airy Italian kitchen in Hudsonville, and on Leonard in Grand Rapids. Fresh, friendly, and always ready when you are.
Let the confetti fly. It's time to celebrate 2026 with an amazing wall-side offer. Half off every window, plus an extra 15% off for cash, or 6 years, 0% interest till 2032. Get the affordable quality you trust only from Wallside. Half off every window, plus an extra 15% off for cash, or 6 years, 0% interest till 2032. No down payment. Call Wallside today.
Welcome back. We are continuing to follow that winter event that we've had, all night, overnight, and into today. Still continuing in some spots, too.
Yeah, so we've had major impacts in terms of wind, in terms of icy or maybe even slick roads at times.
Everything.
Meteorologist Colton Woods has been sticking with us since very early this morning on the morning show. We have seen our fair share of basically any type of winter weather that we've seen. All across West Michigan, and we even got an update from Traverse City too. They were seeing a lot of wind as well.
Yeah, it looked crazy up there in Traverse City. They had super strong winds, stronger than us here in West Michigan, and also some blowing snow. But still, it's pretty dicey out there, especially along the lakeshore for the remainder of the daytime hours today. Sitting at 26 degrees in Muskegon with a sustained wind just over 20 miles per hour, making it feel more like the lower teens out there. Visibility is finally improving in some portions of West Michigan, especially away from the lakeshore. We're finally up to 5 miles here in Grand Rapids, but it's still very low near Kalamazoo and I-94 and also up to the north. Ludington is also below a mile visibility right now. It was very windy earlier today. In fact, Muskegon, you gusted upwards of 58 miles per hour at the Muskegon County Airport just shortly before 4 in the morning. And 58 miles per hour, to put that in perspective, that is the minimum requirement for a severe thunderstorm warning. So very, very strong wind that we saw earlier today. The winds are still pretty breezy along the lakeshore and even further inland. Grand Rapids seeing a wind gust of 44 right now, 44 in Fremont, and still very windy along the lakeshore. 41 in Muskegon and 41 mile per hour wind gusts still in Ludington. That trend will continue through at least the early to mid-afternoon hours today before that wind begins to finally die down late tonight, continuing into Tuesday morning. It will still be breezy tomorrow, but just not as strong, thankfully, as it was today. Temperature-wise, winter is back. It's feeling like winter. Temperatures are generally in the 20s, 26 in Grand Rapids and Muskegon, 30 in South Haven, and cooler off to the north. 23 degrees is the number in Big Rapids. We'll hold largely in the 20s this afternoon with blowing snow continuing, especially along the lakeshore. It's not really until the evening commute where conditions will really start to improve. The low pressure system is now moving well to the northeast of us, so with due time, our winds will start to relax, but we're still holding on to some heavier snow showers, especially now focused along the lakeshore. Zooming in on I-94, we really have a band setting up from Kalamazoo through Holland, up through Muskegon, and also still impacting basically the US 31 corridor all the way up to Ludington. That trend will continue through the rest of the daytime hours today before lake effect snow gradually comes to an end overnight tonight and heading into Tuesday. This is how much snow we're expecting to see through the remainder of the day into this evening. We could see a significant band still setting up toward Kalamazoo, where 1 to 4 inches of snow will be possible, but anyone really close to US 131 generally will just see a dusting upwards of an inch, with the heaviest snow still confined along the lakeshore. We'll be right back after this break.
Refresh your space and save big money at Menards. We have everything you need to clean up after the holiday hustle and bustle. Stock up and save big on top brands like Dawn, Tide, and Bounty. Right now, receive a $10 rebate on a single qualifying purchase of $40 or more on Procter & Gamble products. Hurry in today and look for the dark orange price tags for qualifying Procter & Gamble products now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
This is Window Nation. Affordable replacement windows at the highest quality.
I love my new home, but the contractors did cut corners on the windows. I was constantly fighting drafts. So, I did my homework. Overdid it. I chose Window Nation because they had pricing options that didn't sacrifice quality. And now, the drafts are gone. And so are those high energy bills.
Go to getwindownation.com and right now get 50% off and no payments for 2 years.
It's the really big year-end sale at Talsma Furniture. Our selection of furniture and mattresses has never been better. During the big year-end sale, pick 2 of 3 great offers. Take 12-month special financing, or take an extra 5% cash discount, or we'll pay the sales tax. The choice is yours, whatever two work for you. Get the look you'll love during the year-end sale now at Talsma Furniture.
Should we take a look at? What do you think?
So here, guys, we're going to rip everything down to the studs.
From design and products to removal and installation, Rebath is with you through every step of your remodel. Call or visit our showroom for your free design consultation.
Ring in the savings for the new year at Family Fare. With card, fresh 80% lean ground beef is just $4.88 a pound. And stock up on Jack's Pizza. Now buy two, get one free. Family Fare in your neighborhood.
Your 13 weather impact forecast is sponsored by Stanley Steamer. Call 1-800-STEAMER.
13 is on your side.
Welcome back. Thousands of homes and businesses are without power right now as this winter storm rolls through West Michigan.
Now let's take a live look at the Consumers Energy outage map. The largest outages, we've got a few in Kent County, Berry and Kalamazoo, but there are more than 200 in Allegan. There's a lot, as you go north too. This is according to the Consumers Energy outage. They say they're hard at work to make sure the power comes back on for everyone.
We have more than 400 crews on our system right now that will not stop until every last customer is restored. We do expect some continued power outages as these high wind gusts continue, but do know that even if our crews aren't able to get up in the buckets, they are doing other work so that they can restore power as quickly and safely as possible. If you are without power and you are comfortable within your own home, we encourage you to stay there. Stay safe, stay off the roads. As you all have mentioned, the road conditions are not great this morning. So stay home, get cozy, grab a blanket, an extra sweatshirt, close those blinds and curtains so you can really retain that heat inside of your home. When it comes to food safety, as much as possible, try and keep your refrigerator and your freezer doors closed.
And if you do lose power today, you should quickly bundle up, put towels or blankets under doors to trap the heat, and layer up to keep warm. If you have a generator, I know it's cold outside, but you should keep it out there and away from your home. Do not put it in your garage. You should also unplug electronics like your TV and your computer to prevent any surges when your power is restored. And also keep your fridge closed. Food can stay in there, stay cold for, I think, a couple days as long as you keep that door shut and the cool inside.
Lots of folks still have their Christmas leftovers in there, right? So you've got to make sure that stays shut, and the power will be back on there shortly.
They're working hard.
All right, let's get a live look outside. Current conditions there from our downtown Grand Valley State University camera. That's not an earthquake, folks. That is pure wind shaking our camera there. We're going to check in with our meteorologist one more time, coming up in just a few minutes.
Continue with us on 13 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Now at Langlois Home Furnishings, everything's on sale. Everything. Furniture by Lazy Boy, Ashley, and Flex Steel. Mattresses by Serta and more. All with extended 0% financing. Langlois, Henry Street, Muskegon. Voted #1 on the Lakeshore again.
Let the confetti fly. Celebrate 2026 with an amazing wall side offer. Half off every window, plus an extra 15% off for cash, or 6 years, 0% interest till 2032. Wall side.
Toyotathon is still on. Start fresh with a new Toyota. Head to a hot spring in a Camry. Come on. Off-road in a Land Cruiser. Whoa! Or take a Grand Highlander for a quick trip. Maybe to the mountains. Oh.
Right. Get 4.75 APR financing on remaining new 25 Camrys. Lease a stylish new 26 Corolla for $199 a month, or 26 Camry for $269 a month.
Toyotathon ends January 5th.
Toyota. Let's go places.
After I decided my pain was too much, and my doctor actually suggested that I do visit the Good Feet store. Pretty amazing when they put the arch supports in your shoe and you walk around and you realize there's not pain, and you think, how can this arch support in my shoe make my back pain go away? But it works. And how can it make my knee pain go away? It was incredible.
Hip, knee, or back pain? See if arch supports can help you at the Good Feet store.
Get the affordable quality you trust only from Wallside. Half off every window, plus an extra 15% off for cash. Or 6 years, 0% interest till 2032. No down payment. Call Wallside.
The 13 Plus TV app. Local news from the team you trust. Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need 24/7. 13 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
13 is on your side.
Welcome back. We are still talking about this snow. We're continuing to talk about it because it has been very impactful pretty much all across the area. You know, with the driving and with people, you know, dealing with the wind, there's a lot of power outages, especially up north in the Big Rapids area. The ice that formed from all the rain yesterday. It's been a rough day.
It really has been. And, you know, we live in Michigan. We know that this is Michigan weather at many times throughout the winter season, right? The reason why we're bringing you this coverage as fierce as we are is because we want you to be prepared. We know how to do this, right? But it's just saying, hey, guys, pay attention extra special to this.
And there have been many accidents today this morning, and we have had scattered power outages, and that's what we were trying to message the last 72 hours, and that has occurred today. So it's just something to be mindful of. Again, we're not trying to be panic-inducing because if you need to go somewhere, you need to be out and about, we're not saying you have to stay at home. If you got to head out, just be mindful of the weather, and we know how it goes here in winter. And I think it's really more, Elena and Tanner, and Colton, I don't need to tell you this because you've been forecasting as well. It's all about the wind. That's really compounding the issues brought in by the snow. And even for many, the snow isn't a lot. But again, 50, 60 mile per hour wind gust can complicate some things on the roadways. Yeah. And that's why, well, our 13 weather impact alert continues. That's right, Colton. It's going to be the rest of today.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, and it will continue this afternoon to the evening as lake effect is now taking over. So if you're watching at the lakeshore, you're going to contend with more lake effect snow. If you're away from the lakeshore, such as the greater Grand Rapids area, farther to the east of US 131, you're probably not going to see much more in the way of accumulation, but the wind will remain there, and it'll blow and drift the snow around. And that's what warrants some extra travel time. And also, if you are in an area that loses power on a more regular basis than others, you know, you do have that possibility the rest of today. Look at the current gusts.
It's still windy. I mean, Grand Rapids is gusting upwards of almost 45 miles per hour, 40 in Muskegon and Holland. The sustained winds, though, almost 30. So that alone is pretty impressive, and that continues for a couple more hours across the area.
Yeah, and look at the visibility. You know, Ludington's down to a half mile. Up and down the lakeshore, lake effect snow is continuing. And really, Colton, it's going to come in two specific areas the rest of today. There's kind of a loop over the last several hours showcasing the widespread snow now transitioning over to pure lake effect. These are going to be kind of the two areas right here. Holland to Kalamazoo, and then a little bit to the north, Muskegon towards Ludington. And despite Ludington, nothing is showing up on radar. That's because the radar beam overshoots some of that lake effect. So there it is, the rest of today. We're going to hold on to some lake effect snow showers, especially for those that are in those typical snow belts. And then we'll likely see another round of snow come tomorrow evening. You take it away, Colton. You've been here all morning long. Here's your 7-day forecast.
Yeah, winter is definitely here. The mild stretch of weather, the green Christmas we have, it's over. Winter is here to stay. As we enter 2026, we'll have another round of snow tomorrow. We're thinking about 1 to 3 inches of snow, at least along the lakeshore late tomorrow. Heading into Wednesday, the breeze will still stick with us, just not as strong as it was today. And then dry and cold is the name of the game heading into the new year.
All right, thanks so much, guys. And we do have a quick update too that all lanes are back open on northbound I-196 after Blue Star Highway from that crash there. We'll keep an eye on these incidents all throughout the day.
Absolutely. We'll see you in just a few minutes on 13 Plus. Have a great day.
My dad needed Social Security disability. With his bad back, he couldn't work.
But if Gary wasn't a disability lawyer, his dad could.
Welcome back to Noon Plus here on 13 Plus. We have been covering this winter event all morning long. There's been a lot to talk about between, the blowing winds, the rain that turned into snow, freezing a lot of that on the ice, and of course all the accidents after the fact.
I think for me, it's been interesting to see how the morning has kind of transpired, right? We started with very dicey conditions that turned into multiple accidents, including a very fiery one on 196, which is now cleared up. By the way, you mentioned that at the end of our noon newscast there. But the people that have been tracking this, and in fact, they gave you the heads up about this a couple days ago, have been meteorologist Colton Woods and meteorologist Blake Hansen. They're joining us with a first look at the forecast in this half hour. Boys, it has been very snowy outside, very dicey in many places across the state.
Yeah, that's definitely been the case, Tanner and Elena, especially earlier this morning. That's when we saw the widespread snow. Now we have transitioned over to pure lake effect, which was the expectation. That's definitely going to be the case up and down the lakeshore much of this afternoon into the evening hours before things can kind of calm down briefly. Yeah. Before another round of snow comes in tomorrow.
Winter's back.
Likely not as impactful as some of the snow today just because of the wind aspect of this system, but obviously we are going to be settling back into a winter pattern to wrap up 2025. Live look over our tower camera here in Walker. An improvement.
Looks like winter.
Yeah, looks like winter. Fresh layer of snow back on the ground. It looks like we've picked up between 2 and 3 inches of snow across a fair chunk of Kent County. At least here on the weather deck, we measured around 2.5 inches of snow, but a lot of that was kind of blowing and drifting around. Of course, here's the look in Grand Haven. That camera was not visible much of the morning. Looks like we've seen some improvement there visibility-wise. We can see a big chop on the lake. Alerts winter-wise still ongoing, Colton. Yeah, all the way through 7 this evening. We'll see if the National Weather Service will expire this prior to 7 this evening. I have a feeling at the lakeshore they'll keep that going. But there's our system now to the north and east of Lake Huron. We are now settled into the cold air mass, and that's allowing lake effect snow to pick up a touch. And that's going to be especially the case westward of US 131. You can tell in the Holland area into Allegan, Van Buren County, there's some moderate snow falling. Same thing goes in parts of Ottawa, Muskegon County, and even to the north in Oceana and Mason County. Even though it looks like Ludington's dry as a bone right now, that is not the case. The radar beam is overshooting some of the lake effect snow, and that's why it's indicating that it's dry there, but it is not. We know that it is snowing there based on reports on the ground. Wind. You want to talk about this one, Colton? Woo.
Yeah, it was a windy day today, that's for sure. Saugatuck's Pier, almost 65 miles per hour. Very, very strong winds. Ludington, 61, Whitehall, 60, and Muskegon County Airport, just shy of 60 degrees. And to put that in perspective, a severe thunderstorm warning, the baseline criteria is 58 miles per hour. So we had numerous spots along the lakeshore exceed that. So it was a really windy day today, to put that in perspective. And even further inland, I mean, let's see, Kalamazoo to almost 50, and yeah.
Cedar Springs, 49 mile per hour wind gusts. You know, it's one of those things is that it's not too often a winter storm, or at least a system like this can bring in wind gusts of this magnitude. Usually on the higher end, we'll see some wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. But this system, of course, this morning has brought in 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. And we're still holding on to wind gusts in excess of 40, 45 miles per hour. Battle Creek gusts into 47 miles per hour over the last hour. Sustained winds have been between 20 and 30 miles per hour. And visibility, of course, taking a little bit of a hit here up and down the lakeshore. Visibility only about a mile at best. Notice Ludington, though. Remember we said that the radar, it looks like it's dry as a bone? Well, of course it isn't because, well, visibility is only a half mile there in Ludington, and the airport's indicating falling snow. Temperatures are in the 20s right now. It feels much colder when you factor in those blustery winds, feeling more like the single digits. Colton, I think the biggest thing with the rest of today is that while main roads will likely be in okay shape, especially away from those typical snow belts, it's the side streets, it's the back roads that have had a lot of water over them with the rain yesterday, freezing up over the course of this morning and now into the midday hours. And of course, you have a little bit of snow on top of it. And there's no thaw in sight.
No.
That's for sure. We're going to stay below freezing the rest of the day and really over the next several days, probably a good week, if not even more, of below freezing temperatures. So any water that is still on the roadways, some standing water per se, yeah, they're going to freeze up pretty quickly. We're going to have another look at weather. Colton, you're going to probably take one more good look at this before you could wrap up the day here.
After 10 hours.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at another system that's going to bring in some snow come tomorrow evening. There'll be some accumulation there. And you also have a look towards the start of 2026, which is this week as well. We'll have that for you in our 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, thanks so much, you two. Emergency crews in Allegan County say the snow and wind contributed to a fiery crash on I-196 this morning.
I mean, we saw that picture. It was just baffling to see, frankly. It happened this morning near Old Allegan County Road. 13 on your side's Micah Cho live where that was actually happening at. Right now, the fire is out, but they are cleaning up what's left of that semi-trailer there. Micah, good afternoon to you. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, good afternoon. This is the remnants of that fiery crash, that semi-truck crash. Right here, we can see there's a loader. It looks like he might be picking up that chassis there. I don't know if that's to the truck or to the trailer, but they've been loading up pieces of the semi-truck, and then about 100 feet away, they've been moving it down Old Allegan County Road, which is where this accident is, to a dump truck where they will later dispose of those remnants. Now, we also, just within the past half hour, this tow truck also showed up, but it's been a very active scene here. Jacob, let's show, I almost tripped on a fire hose. Let's show what the bridge kind of looked like before. So over on these columns over here, that's what it looked like before this accident. And now, as you can see, that fire just engulfed this entire bridge. I think this is I-196 northbound. You can see all that soot build up. Just on the sides here, on the under, I don't know if you want to call it the underside of the bridge. But yeah, we did talk with the Saugatuck Township Fire Chief. The Saugatuck Township Fire Department is working the scene, and he was able to tell us a little bit more about what a miracle it was that everybody was able to get out of this accident.
My understanding is the driver was transported, but he was walking wounded at one point, was transported. It was a miracle. I think somebody pulled him out, a bystander, so it was a miracle.
Okay, so yeah, so again, these firefighters are working a very active scene through very active conditions. The wind is blowing. It's a little bit better underneath the bridge, but nonetheless, I mean, they've been working through all the cold, the snow, the wind, so props to the firefighters over here too. So again, the remnants, they are trying to clean this up. Southbound lanes are open on 196. The northbound lanes, this bridge still has to be inspected before it's reopened. For now, in Saugatuck Township, I'm Micah Cho for 13 on your side.
All right, Micah, thank you so much for that. And we'll keep an update on throughout the day as that bridge is inspected and they reopen that freeway, but it could be some time.
Yeah, to me, I'm sorry, I just wanted to point out that soundbite with the chief there.
I know.
I mean, a bystander is what it sounds like, pulled this guy out.
He called it a miracle that they're doing as well as they are. So, of course, that's incredible. We'll let you know how he's doing throughout the day, or he or she's doing throughout the day as we learn more. Also, a place that's seeing a lot more impact too is along the Lakeshore counties. Winter weather advisory continues in that area too.
So 13 on your side's Erin Sullivan has been braving the elements there in Muskegon for us, joining us live again from that spot that she is huddled behind a hill because boy is it windy, and we are so glad you found that hill, Erin, because I mean, you were just getting whipped around in that wind. So what are you experiencing right now?
If I heard you correctly, you said I was behind a hill. Absolutely not. We are at Muskegon State Park, where there have been reports of 68 miles per hour wind gusts here. And I wanted to come out towards the shoreline to show you guys the conditions out here right now. We've seen a lot of people driving by, getting out to take pictures, even some families with their small children, which is why we are here. We want to show you what these conditions look like, because it's one thing to hear us on TV say, hey, gusty winds, be careful, versus actually seeing us here. Not only are the wind gusts extremely, extremely violent, it's also throwing sand in our face. It's getting in our mouths, our lungs, our hair. It's everywhere, including the snow that's getting picked up and thrown in our faces right now. It's extremely difficult to breathe out here, and it's extremely difficult to stand up straight. I was walking over to this spot and I actually almost got pushed over by a gust of wind, which is definitely showing a lot. But I also want to talk about the view that everyone's coming here to see, these gorgeous waves. We are seeing reports that there are waves that are over 20 feet high. So really just absolutely incredible to see these things crash into the lighthouses in the distance. It is absolutely spectacular, but just really goes to show the strength of this storm that we're seeing here in Muskegon today, especially these blizzard-like conditions that we have been talking to you about all morning long. But just one thing I want everyone to take away from our report. They often say, why are you out there? You don't need to show us these conditions. We do, because we see people visiting places like this with their small children, and I'm 5'5", 24 years old, and this is extremely difficult on me. So we want to make sure everyone is being smart in this weather. Please stay safe, drive safe. It's extremely icy out there. But for now, reporting in Muskegon, I'm Erin Sullivan, 13 on your side.
Okay, that hill she was behind earlier, she's got to find that.
I know.
Find that and take some cover from the wind to get a little bit warm. Well, now we're taking a live look here outside over Muskegon. Conditions there, it looks like at least it's not blowing right there in that spot.
Yeah, so this is actually better than some of the conditions we were seeing earlier this morning. What you can't tell by this is that, yes, the wind is still whipping there in Muskegon. So be very careful if you got to get out there. Be aware of the changing conditions, also the wind conditions out there. We'll be back with more coverage after this. All right, welcome back. We want to give you an update on what's going on up north. Of course, we've been pretty fortunate throughout the morning to be able to check in with our friends at the Weather Channel.
And as somebody who grew up in northern Michigan, I obviously know as you travel north, things can really change. We have a report from the Weather Channel. Meteorologist Chris Bruin is in Traverse City. Let's take a look and see what we're seeing up there today.
We want to go right now to meteorologist Chris Bruin with the Weather Channel. He has been kind of up there in Traverse City, keeping tabs on the conditions there. We were just taking a look at one of our tower cameras here at the station, Chris, and the wind is absolutely whipping here in Grand Rapids. And I would imagine that's the same story up there near Traverse City.
Yeah, we have officially gusted to 58 miles per hour at the Cherry Capital Airport here in Traverse City. And I'll tell you, we checked in a couple hours ago. Conditions are even worse now. Visibility is some of the worst I've seen. I can barely make out the other side of the street. I want to pan over. There's some condos there. I mean, it's a total whiteout. All right, look at the flag. I mean, it is rocking and rolling. And we've talked to some local city crews here in Traverse City, and even just some locals who are out walking around, wanted to stop by and say hi, and they've lived here their whole life. And while the snow isn't like the most impressive snowstorm you guys have ever seen in Traverse City, they said the wind is absolutely insane, and we don't get this kind of wind that often, okay? We're on the shores of Grand Traverse Bay, and obviously with visibility like this, you're not even going to be able to see it, but from what the city crew said, she's like, typically the water is very calm. This is a protected harbor off of Lake Michigan, and the way the waves are right now, splashing over the seawall, she says there's some of the largest she's ever seen, especially in more recent years. So I just want to paint this picture. We're going to be like this all day. Blowing, drifting snow becomes a big issue. I mean, look at the park. There's a playground over there. And the swings, I mean, they're just moving by themselves. And notice the trees. You've got, this is a good one here, Lauren, if you can see the tree. Notice how it's plastered with snow on one side, and then the other side is bare. That's what we're seeing on the cars. Certain parts of your drive to your house or in your neighborhood is going to have drifts, and the other sides will be total exposed. And because we had rain overnight and then temperatures plummeted, we had that flash freeze, and that created a solid sheet of ice. We talked to some of the city sanitation crews, and they were out all morning. They're out still, and they said the ice has been very tricky, and most roads have, kind of a solid sheet of ice. They're able to remove the snow, but it's the visibility and the wind that have been a huge concern. At last check, we hadn't had any road closures in the Traverse City, but that doesn't mean there's not problems. And trying to get down towards, say, Manistee, or even down towards Grand Rapids, absolutely difficult. I mean, it's like this for all of Western Michigan because the winds are widespread. Even if you're not getting in on the heaviest snowfall, like other parts of the state are, you're still dealing with those wind gusts. And it's caused a lot of havoc this morning at airports, some big hubs like Detroit. They're not getting as much snow, but they're still gusting over 40 to 50 miles per hour. And get this, the UP of Michigan still under blizzard warnings right now. Marquette has had over 22 inches of snow, and that was several hours ago. I can imagine that total will get even larger. Here in Traverse City, I would say we're probably closing in on about 5 or 6 inches, and we've got another 3 to 6 inches to go, I would say, before all is said and done. The winds will continue through about dinner time here, not just in Traverse City, but across much of Michigan. And then tonight, they'll slowly start to come back down. Tomorrow, we won't have nearly the kind of wind, but the snow will still stick around. We've got a little clipper system that's going to come swinging back through the Great Lakes, so that will bring in more snow later in the afternoon and tomorrow night. But I do think travel will be a lot better tomorrow. It's going to take a little while to clean up. And for most people, I mean, even Traverse City, it's kind of shutting them down. A lot of businesses probably didn't even open. We haven't seen a lot of people out, aside from, a handful of cars that will come. This is Front Street, and there's people driving from one end of town to the other. But once you get outside the city limits, that's when you run into big problems. So what you see is what you're going to get here pretty much all afternoon. And imagine at night as we lose whatever daylight we have, and we're still dealing with these kinds of gusts, wind, and blowing snow.
So I think the blowing snow and the wind is something that we've not only seen up there in Traverse City, where we were just talking to our friend from the Weather Channel there, but we've seen it all across West Michigan.
All across West Michigan, especially along the lakeshore. We've seen it. You know, there was the accident up in Hart. There was the accident just getting into Ottawa County. There was the accident down in Saugatuck that we saw Micah reporting on. So it's definitely been a difficult morning as far as, you know, people out on the roads dealing with the ice, dealing with the wind. And now I'm wondering what comes next. Colton, what can you tell us?
I mean, winter's here to stay, guys. Heading into the new year, it's not going to go anywhere. Temperatures will stay below freezing over the next week or so. That's why your 13 weather ball is blue. Cooler temperatures are in view today. It's also blinking bright, still holding on to some snow showers in sight, primarily along the lake shore. This view brought to you by LaFontaine Lincoln of Grand Rapids. Muskegon, visibility is still not great, but it is better than it was just moments ago, sitting at 26 degrees with a sustained wind at 22, making it feel like the lower teens rather than the 20s. Visibility is still an issue primarily along the lakeshore and especially north of Muskegon. Ludington, you're seeing a visibility of half a mile, but notice how it is at least improved further inland. Grand Rapids sitting at 5 miles for a visibility. Still a little bit dicey though, down toward I-94 Kalamazoo, holding at half a mile. Winds today was the big story by far. It resulted in slick roads, or at least allowing for the slick roads to really take hold across West Michigan, and also the blowing and drifting snow was a real problem for visibility. Muskegon, we had a wind gust report earlier just before 4 in the morning of nearly 60 miles per hour, so very strong winds all across West Michigan today, and especially along the lakeshore. Still though, these are the current wind speeds, or at least wind gusts, approaching 45 miles per hour in Grand Rapids, 41 in Muskegon, and 45 still in Ludington. Area-wide, it's not only windy here in West Michigan, but across much of the Great Lakes area, even toward Detroit, we're seeing wind gusts approach 45 miles per hour. That trend will continue throughout the rest of the early and mid-afternoon hours, but winds will gradually start to lessen later this evening. You can see by the time we get to 7 p.m., so just after the evening rush, generally holding around 40 miles per hour. And overnight tonight, those winds will really start to lessen, but stay on the breezy side at least heading into Tuesday morning. Temperature-wise, Old Man Winter is back. Temperatures generally in the 20s right now, 26 in Grand Rapids and Muskegon, 30 in South Haven, and 23 is a number in Big Rapids. So cold air is here, and it will stay cold over the next several hours. Temperatures generally will hold in the mid-20s through the rest of this evening. Blowing snow and strong winds will continue through at least the evening commute and primarily near the lakeshore. Here in Grand Rapids, most of the snow is at least beginning to come to an end. Satellite and radar still shows that low pressure system beginning to exit the Great Lakes into eastern Canada. We can still see that strong northwest flow behind that low pressure system, bringing in the colder air and the lake effect snow now that we have fully transitioned over to. The heaviest snow of which is still falling from Muskegon, Ottawa, Allegan, and toward Kalamazoo counties, and also off to the north in Oceana and Mason County, even though the radar technically is not seeing it because it's overshooting the lake effect snow band and going over the clouds. But you can see where that snow band really is setting up over Kalamazoo County into Van Buren and Allegan. This really isn't a one singular band. It's kind of cellular in nature. So at times you will have some at least dicey conditions in the way of visibility. The heaviest band of which is actually in central Muskegon County right now, so impacting Wolf Lake, Twin Lake, and also just to the east of Fruitport right now. The heaviest, though, continuing off to the north in Ludington. Like I mentioned, Ludington's visibility is down below a mile. Even though it shows that it's not snowing in Ludington, the radar beam is overshooting that snow off to the north. Hour by hour shows that snow will continue along the lakeshore today, but look at us here in Grand Rapids. We'll stay mostly dry through the rest of the afternoon and evening hours as that northwest flow really favors two areas, especially along the lakeshore, north of Muskegon and just south of Holland. Additional snow through the rest of the daytime hours today generally will be around 1 to 3 inches along the lakeshore with dusting of snow further inland. However, this band extending from Holland through Kalamazoo County and Allegan County could approach 4 to 5 inches of additional snow by tonight across the area. Hour by hour shows into tomorrow, we'll have another round of snow. This won't be as impactful as the one that we saw today, thankfully, but we are still expecting some snow showers to wrap up your Tuesday heading into Wednesday morning. So this is the future radar. Generally by 3 p.m., more lake-enhanced snow will develop across the lakeshore, and I think the worst of the conditions likely will be tomorrow evening into tomorrow night, where we could see an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow, especially along the lakeshore. Then heading into Wednesday, Colder air even moves into West Michigan, resulting in more lake effect snow. But right now, the impacts generally will be on the lighter side, at least definitely compared to what we saw today. Today, though, the blowing snow will continue across the lakeshore. Temperatures will be holding steady in the mid to upper 20s. So really no warm air is expected to, the temperatures won't be building, I should say, into the afternoon. They'll hold pretty steady into the 20s now. Your 13 on your side 7-day forecast shows blowing snow will continue along the lakeshore today. Tuesday into Wednesday, that's our next system, especially along the lakeshore, where an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow can be expected. The impacts, though, much lower than what we saw today. Heading into New Year's Day, temperatures will be pretty cold, generally in the teens with mostly cloudy skies, and it looks to be a drier weekend, but below average with highs generally in the 20s.
Deep breath, everybody.
I know. We made it through. Yeah. We've been on the air, well, on the stream, rather, since 5 o'clock this morning. So it really has been interesting to cover this, to see the evolution of where we started this morning to where we're ending up right now.
Yeah, and I think it's just one of those things that while conditions are improving in many spots, especially away from the lake shore, keep in mind the winds are still going to be strong this afternoon, even into the evening. Those at the lake shore are going to contend with additional lake effect snow. Again, it's winter. Let's just be mindful of those varying conditions the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So it's not over just yet, right, Colton?
Nope, and we have more winter weather tomorrow. But
Okay.
nothing like
We'll
today.
get to that.
Nothing like today.
We'll let you
get to
breathe
that.
for a second.
Yeah.
Everybody take a deep breath at home too. Maybe, just keep in mind if you're heading outside to take it slow, leave early. We know how to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you later today.